It's time for another episode of Street Fighter League Japan. It is episode 14, day 1, and this is the final, and I mean final episode. We only have 2 more days of regulation play, and that means we're going to have absolute hot heat out here. Man, oh man, are the teams so close. They are so close in contention in these top 5 spots in all of the points count. Every match is almost like an anchor match. Vicious, how are you feeling about the action that people are going to see today?
Well, we've got pretty much 2 more days left of regulation play, and it's getting very, very hotly contested, right? We kind of mentioned this even last week, where we talked about how many of these points can be accumulated for some of these teams, and it would possibly mean for getting them that favorable position for the seeding into the playoffs. But it's a lot closer than we anticipated in comparison to what we were looking at from that halfway mark, right? This is it right here. This is do or die time. This is week 14, the final week for everybody here. There's just so much to look forward to as we've gone through pretty much this entire round of Street Fighter League this season. We've gone through the tryouts. We've seen who have acquired their pro licenses. We've gone through the draft as well as the one-on-one tournament. We have seen who have gotten themselves those extra points going into Street Fighter League Japan this season. But it's come down to this very moment. Who is going to stay alive within the top 5?
And the wild thing is right now, Good 8 Squad is not that far off from the likes of Nagoya Ojibari Star. Only 30 points separate them. So they want as many points as possible coming up in their next match to stay in that grand final zone. The rest of the teams, 30 points away, no points away, 5 points away. It's so contentious right now in terms of how close things are, maybe even closer than last season, and for good reason. As I've said before, every match feels like an anchor match. Every match matters. Every point counts. For some of these teams, they're out. They're on the sidelines. Team Eats Gut and Team Detonation are out of the running. Gyogun still trying to swim upstream. But today, Good 8 Squad once again is in that top zone. They all want to acquire not only all this hot wop on the top, 5 million yen for first place, 2 million for second, and 1 million for third, but also the chance to be the strongest team in Street Fighter V Japan history, but then go on to fight the US and the EU over at Capcom Cup in February 12th and all the way to that week, the week of 12. A lot of days
the week of
Street Fighter
12th,
V
right? Yeah.
going on. Yes, there we go.
It is a full week, by the way, a full week. For those that haven't purchased their tickets just yet, again, it's going to be taking place in Burbank, California. You guys want to be able to check it out in person because, again, it's a very, very prestigious event for the likes of those being a part of Street Fighter League as well as Capcom Cup, and also for the fans as well. Being able to be a part of that last chance qualifier is such a big ordeal, especially with the final year of Street Fighter V, as well as being able to enjoy it in person, live and full effect. I repeat, live in person. We have not had a Capcom Cup live in person in a very, very long time. It would be such a pleasure to see you all gathered in the same area, as well as being able to get a fist bump and a photo in potentially. But with that in mind, let's take a look at who we have. It's Good 8 Squad going up against Sai Shunkan Seoul Kumamoto. We should be introducing our away team going into it. Of course, starting things off with the sun. Sai Shunkan Seoul Kumamoto. It is none other than the Violence Emperor, aka the Brute King. It's Nemo with the very impressive Urien and Falk. As if one terror was enough, we have the Prodigy, Higuchi, with Guile on top of the Little Devil to throw in the mix as third with Urien, Shuto, so amazing. YXC Mochi, the Hermit of Shimane, and just showing his prowess with Dawson. Overall, such a well-rounded team, which is exactly why they're one of the teams to beat right now. It's currently sitting in third with 313 points, but they have quite the task ahead of them. They could overtake this team if they get a full one, but who is this squad in the home team?
Oh, it's a Good squad right here. Good 8 Squad led by the Hiroshima Predator himself, Gachikun, still proving that Rashid is difficult to deal with. At the helm, right behind the Stay Fine is the Cosmic Boxer himself, sending fists from space is Pugera, who's in the top spot continuously in World Warrior events. The next gen hero himself, online and offline Evo champion, that is Kawano with that Colleen play. And last but not least, it's the man that made the pact with the Right Devil, the Wind Devil, that is Dogura, ending out this well-rounded, if not strongest team in the business. And I say strongest team because they're sitting with 360 points leading, but they could be overtaken by the likes of Sai Shunkan Seoul Kumamoto. This match matters so much. If a 40 bomb happens, Sai Shunkan Seoul Kumamoto goes to the top spot.
Now, this is actually kind of wild, right? Although it is a 30-point gap, we do have our order already settled in. It is Higuchi, YC Mochi, and Shuto with Guile, Dalsim, and Urien. Now, back at the point stipulation here, or the point situation, I should say. The last time they engaged, back in week number 7, it was a 20 to 25-point ball game between the two in favor of a good 8 squad. Now, with that in mind, I'd imagine Saishun Console Kumamoto are looking to keep it a lot closer, even with like 30 points potentially. That would be a lot closer. This is the one time they could potentially stop good 8 squad from keeping the #1 spot, right? Nagoya Oja Body Star, I don't think they have to face off against them just yet, right? So we'll see how this plays out. It's going to be a very, very close call, as there are 2 teams currently in 330 points in that position to overtake the good 8 squad.
And I feel like Good 8 Squad has a good, selection of characters against the likes of Saishun Kansou Kumoto. But we've seen the likes of Saishun Kansou Kumoto be able to supersede or surpass the likes of matchups that we see up on paper, right? Sim being able to take down the likes of Bison. And we see Higuchi going up right now against Pugera's Balrog. And Higuchi says this is our last today, our important match. We need 40 points to win to pass as #1. Higuchi says he will do his best. What do you think about this order in general, in this match in general, I should say?
So Higuchi versus Balrog has not really been in the favor of for Guile, I should say, in a while. I think there's a lot that Balrog can do to traverse past the fireball game, and also has the normals to boot, right? I think there's a lot that could be said with the heavier normals that Balrog possesses that can go toe-to-toe against Guile, and also on paper, he can be quite cumbersome in regards to trying to counter-poke him, or at least trying to break out of his pressure on defense, outside of having an EX flash kick, right? But the same can kind of be said about Guile. I think there's a lot that he can do against someone like Bison on offense, Balrog on offense. But we'll see how this plays out. I think in the neutral game, Pugera might have the upper hand here. This is a very wise decision to send him out against Higuchi. I think there might be something here that will give Higuchi a significant problem. Not only because it's the matchup, but it is indeed 2 out of 3 in the Vanguard, being the Vanguard match.
Yeah, and the likes of... Right, and I think Pugera's, his tendencies to, be very movement-based and always positioning himself at the right time, right area, it'd be hard for someone even like Higuchi to kind of pin down. However, Higuchi, we've talked about how good he is in terms of offense. He's so hard to stop. It's so hard to call what he wants to do. He'll take those negative frames and make them plus on his own. He'll take back his turn when he wants to. It's so hard to deal with that aggression, that momentum when he gets it. When he has that idea that I can do this, it's so hard to stop him. We'll see what we can do, or what Pugera can do up in this match. Pugera looking really good in terms of seasonal wins right here. 7 wins out of the 10 games that he has played. That's fantastic. One of the highest point earners right there. Then you look at the likes of Pugera. Let me see. Pugera is 7-10, and Higuchi is 10-13 though. Even though 7-10 is really good, 10-13 is even better. Higuchi definitely in those top spots right there. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's been near immaculate, I feel like. There's been so many moments where he's had such important wins on the anchor position, but I feel like in some of the tougher matchups that he has to go up against, he needs all the games he could play, right? We've even mentioned, even in weeks prior, where Higuchi had kind of, taken a little bit of the slower route to figure out what he needs to do to adapt. We actually saw that from the Capcom Fighters Detonation match last week. He had the 3 out of 5 against John Takeuchi. He fell short in the first game. Then as soon as he figured out, he started to roll with it. I don't think Pugera is going to give him that many chances or that many looks to kind of figure out what the formula is to win. And I think with 2 out of 3 territory, it just makes it that much harder for Higuchi to find that kind of success in the adaptation game.
Agree. That long game that we've seen from Higuchi has been fantastic in these first 3s. That's why we see him in the anchor position continuously. Maybe Shudo might have been great because we've seen Shudo do well even in first 2s. However, let's see what he can do. I think that if they're setting him up like this, they understand that there's going to be a first 2 situation. He's going to have to acclimate immediately. And against the likes of Pugera, it's going to be difficult, but he's going to have a game plan. And I'm wondering how he's going to deal with that B skill. Being able to smooth through the booms and take away such a big thing of Guile is going to be problematic. He's going to have to utilize those normals, which he's comfortable comfortable doing so, but Balrog has some good things to say about, you know, back fist and forward fierce, the crush countable buttons that Guile does have. Gets outside the range, find a whip punish, and get in and get real cllose where Guile does not want him to be at. So I'd like to see what Higuchi's game plan is. I'd like to see that Higuchi patented style where he gets aggressive with it, takes back the turn when he wants to. But again, as you pointed out, Pugera will be stopping that continuously. We're going to have to see. First match of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to look at, because when you talk about the aggressive style that Balrog can play, like on paper, a lot of his normals on block can lead to a series of frame traps that you won't even expect. But even moving back, you think he would be out of range. His hitbox on a lot of his normals extend further than you think. And even if that even if that wasn't the case, you still have such long-reaching normals. Like Roundhouse does kind of clip as a great counter poke tool. Standing heavy punch is such an awesome tool that does crush counter as well. So I think there's a lot to be said with how Balrog can be utilized within the mid to close range space. Guile, on the other hand, he could be a little bit of a struggle outside of utilizing maybe like his punch buttons, right? Medium punch button can lead to a lot of the meaties that we talk about that lead into some of these frame traps. I think Guile's his throw strike game is pretty effective as well, but it's all really about the spacing game, I feel like, for Guile. We know Higuchi can be offensive. His offense can be kind of creative and really quite, you know, the harassing kind of offensive, but I think overall there's more like an annoyance factor from Guile, and also death by 1,000 cuts kind of Guile gameplay that really succeeds above a lot of other players.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That crouch community kick too, I want to see how that's utilized. I've seen Higuchi interrupt a lot of the EX straights and things like that, like the Balrogs to get preemptive with it. And I like to see that button kind of harass the likes of Balrog as he walks him down. And I think the idea of walking to the corner and then putting the pressure on Balrog, where he only has that 3 frame to his name, and he has the EX upper with some armor on it. I'd like to see that strike throw game being implemented right there up in that corner, where you can't really do much but hold that pressure. And Guile can lock you down, especially when he gets that B trigger. The March of the Baby Booms can also lock down that character, where it makes that B skill a lot harder to utilize. And someone like Higuchi is going to switch up the tempo and the placement of the booms to make it harder to move through. So Higuchi, he's played this matchup years after years. Every Guile player has. And even though Balrog has been slightly weakened, he's still a huge threat, and he understands that. I'd like to see also what he does against the Stand Fierce range. Right now, let's see who's the most fierce in the first match of the day. Balrog versus Guile, Higuchi, Pugera.
I'm really excited to see how this plays out, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of pressure on the side of Saishun Console Kumamoto, right? They've actually kind of outlined it in the bottom left graphic not too long ago before the match started. Team Seoul, they need 40 points to make the Good Aid squad bleed, to bring them back down to human level. We'll see if they can accomplish that mission today, or will Good Aid squad ascend above the rest? Here we go. Oh, take note. Trigger 2 on deck for Pugera.
Ooh, up close and personal with the command grab. Even more to be worried about. See how that operates. B skills right through the boom. That B skill and the crush counters might add up to getting B trigger even quicker. Or just get hit like that. Higuchi push him to the corner. Meaty knees. Lock in. Ooh.
We already see the counter poke game being implemented by Pugera. He's been playing at a way to kind of, one, prevent the booms from coming, and also prevent Higuchi from throwing out some of his normals. He's doing such a great job. And Higuchi, threading the needle, does get the counter hit, dashing right up into Pugera's face. March of the booms, you mentioned it earlier. Knee bazooka reset, tough to hold all this pressure.
Oh, ooh, what a challenge right there. No EX though. Don't let him get close. Higuchi backing off. Actually getting up close and personal. He's got the bar at the bottom for the super to seal it. EX low, counter hit, didn't find a finish, didn't have a charge up. One hit will do it. Either side. Get that damage applied.
Oh! What? That was mad far. Wait, what? Wait, what happened?
Still got hit.
Genuinely
walk up throw. Higuchi will take that.
I'm genuinely confused as to what just happened. Did he use knee bazooka just now as like a bait? Did he use the knee bazooka to be like, all right, well, I'm going to be negative here? Or did that actually hit? Am I tripping?
No, it didn't hit. You're right. Higuchi said, I'm going to send it. I'm going to send it anyway. I'm wondering if that was an error or you thought it hit. But either way, Higuchi, the better off in that situation, he'll take it.
We'll take a look at that on the replay, hopefully. That was actually kind of wild. Forward thrown out. Oh, missed the meaty dash punch. Pugera completely unhappy about getting the round robbed away from him like that. at that. The focus, the V-skill won. Past the Sonic Blade.
We could see a sweep from the side of Bulgaria against that move, so gets up close and personal. He's trying to keep him out to back this range. EX in. The defense here from Higuchi, but he is getting eaten up a bit. Got the bar the activation. Waiting for that okay sweep activation on block. The push him in the corner. Counter hit. The crush, the setup. So smart with Higuchi.
I love that. Not even worrying about keeping the V-trigger. Keeping the pressure with the Bray Live. Higuchi does get punished for it, and you get Oki after this. And I love that again. Yo, Higuchi wasn't ready for the dash up at the very final moments, and I get it. He's got final in his game, and it's not necessarily the tap, which would be pretty cool if we actually get to see it from Bulgaria. That is one of his trademarks. But again, tying it all up here. Back throw now is going to be important. Anti-air, he's got it.
Easy anti-air. Medium. Locks up in the corner. He skills right through. Well spaced too as well. Backing up to make there, and that is perfectly at the tip of the elbow. The tip of the knuckle, I should say. Dash punch and play. Making it bigger to when he wants to pull that out. He's just trying to find a way out of this corner. A lot of harassment. EX gets the knockdown.
Oh, the big counter hit, crouching medium punch. There's going to be a ton of damage. If not, okay, the reset, you're actually going to be damaging. Yep, even if it wasn't the damage, it was the stun. Command grab on top of it. Dang, that was explosive. This guy, Bulgaria, pulling out all the stops, especially with that last reset against Higuchi. And either way, if the reset was blocked, he was 100% going to go into another layer of the mix, which would have led to stun, if I'm not mistaken. Like, having that command grab on deck was going to be so tough to even try to defend against.
Now I see the purpose of that, you know, being able to get these big closers for this character. Fantastic play. He's been building up a lot of V-bar with the V-skill and the crush counters too as well. So he's getting that V-trigger even closer, even easier round after round. And I feel like that could also lead into the V-bar utilizing something different for V-reversals. But either way, the offense is fantastic. The spacing, we talk about the movement being really great at that right range for the V-skill. He's only been hit by a few booms, and Higuchi has changed up quite a bit with it. And for even someone like Bulgaria to sniff out the EX flash kick in that sequence, just awake and aware of all of Higuchi's options, and that's difficult considering Higuchi's a hard cat to pin down. Man, Bulgaria is ready.
Yeah, I haven't really seen Higuchi kind of sweat like that in a long time. He's very seldom on the EX flash kick train, I feel like. That is usually Conductor Daigo that is running that train. Higuchi, sometimes he's in the passenger cart. Sometimes he'll move up in the ranks a little bit. But again, that is something that is usually forced upon Higuchi in really dire circumstances. But no, Punish, he wasn't ready for the punish against the dash punch. Maybe he did not have the charge ready. I'd imagine so. I think that might have been the case.
Unfortunate. Back fist, forward medium kick, simplify more of these buttons. The command normals. Outside that fierce range. Careful of the fierce button. Higuchi, pensive of throwing out a fireball because he might get crush counted with the fierce to the side of Bulgaria. His dash punch is also harassing. V-reversal. Great life. Stocked up to the side of Higuchi. Got to be careful now.
Yeah, again, that just adds so much extra pressure. I think Higuchi is so reluctant to even try to move forward and does check the dash this time against Bulgaria. It's Bulgaria that's been kind of pressing the offense despite Higuchi having all that great life, right? He smells blood in the water. That is a decent cash out, right? A little bit of change on that. Not too bad.
Ooh, nice chase on the V-ship. Sweep off the
so sick.
Yup. Looking out for it. EX will definitely help the lead out of the corner. Preemptive V-ship. Thought he saw something. Dash in. Higuchi with the block and the punish. Gets the hit, I should say, and the super in play. Higuchi back in business. And I like the fact that he's using the V-bar for something different. Offensive V-reversals instead of going for these V-trigger situations to keep the lead.
Nice change of pace so far. Higuchi was the one to push back Bulgaria, but now we do get the counter poke into the full sequence. Anti-air, he made him pay for it. Bulgaria now stuck in this corner. Higuchi making all the right calls on defense thus far, and now it leads him to this very moment. Oh God, another one of the crouching medium punches. Why has his timing been, he's been so immaculate thus far. He knows exactly when Higuchi wants to press the button. All of these counters have been landing. He caught him walking backwards.
Also catch him with the command grab. Down to the ground you go. Dine on some dirt, Bulgaria. On set point. These buffers, the movement, the smoothment, it's all working out. It's all Bulgaria right now.
He's calling it correctly too. After the crouching medium kick target combo, he was already going to go into V-trigger. And that's not even going to be a bad deal, right? He would have been -2. He would have been just safe. But the fact that Higuchi micro-walked backward in that moment, that was so unfortunate for him.
Well, these back dashes coming through for Higuchi. V-skills right through the boom. Keeping that right range. Counter hit, knockdown with the EX Fireball. Back though for that Oki. The duck though. Pugera switching up where he stands to on the wake-up position.
Just a little bit of a mistime there from Higuchi. Pretty much on top of the body of Balrog with that fist, that burning streak. We just let out a little bit too early. Yeah, it is Higuchi's turn after that activation. So much range.
So dangerous. You're still worried about this character getting that close. One more in the tank right here. If he gets close enough to get the grip. The challenge of the crouch kick. We talked about that button harassing the likes of Balrog, but not leading to too much. Dash up sweep.
Side switch. No, nothing on Meaty. Nothing on wake up. The anti-air is there. He's gonna let the moves rock. He's afraid. He's so afraid of the V skill.
He should be the break. One more, he will do it. Caught him with the baby booms. One more touch. Jump in V shift. Time winding down, blocks the EX, blocks the EX again. Still, now Higuchi's win, but the V skill scooped right through. You're through. Pugera taking down Higuchi at the right time with that V skill. Immaculate.
At the right spacing too. Higuchi, he was gonna let all of his meter get dumped out. He was looking for a moment, and Pugera actually knew it too. Like, he knew he was gonna be treading softly. He had to walk and block as much as possible, because so long as there's EX on the side of Guile, most of the time in that situation, they're gonna be dumping out their meter at any given moment. You don't want to jump, you don't want to anticipate a jump or even like a V shift. You have to just walk and block it no matter what. So Pugera, really amazing anticipation in regards to what Higuchi wanted to do with his meter at that point in time, while also maintaining the spacing to punish any bad place booms. And that's difficult, man. These booms come out pretty quickly, but again, Pugera just being at the right place at the right time pretty much all the time.
I mean, I feel like it took Higuchi so much out of his element. We didn't really see a flash kick. We saw the EX Fireball at the end. They're going to pull up the stats here in a second in terms of the anti-airs. And I really want to highlight the fact that Pugera was able to get a jump in at that last moment. Could that have been a flash kick? We may have been seeing something different. We may have been looking at a different timeline. But the fact that he did not anti-air shows me that he was just not ready. He was too focused on the ground game. That EX Fireball instead of an EX Flash Kick could have led to something different to take down the likes of Pugera. And the fact that Pugera sniffed out a Flash Kick, sniffed out the reversal from the side of Higuchi, shows that he was in his head. And I like the fact that we see, once again, Pugera's great movement, his great charge buffers and things like that. It just makes him so hard to deal with. Even jumping is so difficult to deal with, like Pugera. We didn't really see any anti-airs from the side of Pugera that consistently, besides the medium punch. But it's so hard to even think about taking the skies because he's so on point with backing up to get the uppers. And right now, it's looking like a downer right here. Saishun Console Kumoto walking away right now with nothing in the first match. 10 points on the side of Good 8 squad from Pugera.
That just means there's 10 points away for Good 8 squad to solidify their place in first with the best seeding possible to move on into the grand finals. And up next, again, it's going to be YC Mochi. I think it's going to be against Gachikun, which makes absolute sense. I totally think that this is going to be a matchup made in heaven, really, for Gachikun, but there's really something about YC Mochi's Dawson as of late that has been really progressing into the moments, into the kind of Dawson play we've expected from him and creating some of those big highlight moments, right? Although he hasn't had the best record overall, I think his moment from the last match between him and Urio, we started to really see what he can do when it comes to like run back scenarios. So it's gonna be interesting to see. This isn't necessarily a run back scenario, but this is definitely a matchup he's had in his pocket under his belt from previous seasons.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely difficult for Sim. You know, one of the handful of matches where Sim is taken out of his comfort zone. The dive kicks can clip a lot of these limbs. The V skill goes into the fireballs continuously. Light mixer is a very easy way to get in without, you know, being punished too often, especially if you're at that mid to close range. There's a lot of tools that Rashid can do to harass his character. If it catches you in the air with a jump medium punch, if you're in a float state, that's a full conversion, a full combo, and a lot of damage for that character. And someone like Gachikun will take advantage of that situation. situation. But I like that you point out the fact that Waichi Mochi is coming into his own. Defeating the likes of Urio, who is so aggressive, being able to shift up where he stands a lot more. We talked about how he's kind of like playing it in the ground a little bit too much and spinning a lot of these normals, getting a lot better about movement, and positioning himself, being better about, oh, I'm not going to be standing here in the same spot at the same time, might be working out well against the likes of Gachikun and that Rashid where it's all over the screen. So I'd like to see that same sort of movement that he showed against that Rose player against this Rashid player.
So allow me to kind of reintroduce Gachikun here, right? Let's take a look at his points. We know exactly what he's all about, but overall, right, he's been so impressive. 8 out of 12, you know, above average in regards to his success rate. 90 points on the table of this man, Capcom Cup champion. And it just makes him so elusive, I feel like, to catch up to because of how often he's changed up his playstyle and how often he's eluded a lot of these players into thinking one playstyle over the other. He's been so effective in changing the way he's been playing and how versatile he can really make Rashid. Then we talked about Waichi Mochi. Overall, right, 3 out of 7, 30 points. These last couple of games he's played, 3 games in a row. Again, he's finally in his pretty much in his own skin, right? He's no longer part of the funk. He's got rid of that the first 4 games. Now he is big chillin'. He's as happy as he can be and really well focused. And I would love to see, like, I always enjoy watching Waichi Mochi. This is the kind of gameplay we anticipated. We want to see Gachikun pretty much put on the edge in regards to what he needs to do on defense.
Yeah, I love seeing like tech rats being able to push to the limit, like forcing them to show, you know, all the cards in their hand, forcing them to show all the new things, because we've seen Gachikun, when he loses, it feels like he goes to the lab immediately and spends hours upon hours, and you see the result. I remember him fighting Fudo, losing to Fudo, and then coming back next CPT and finding a way for the V-reversal play to get outside of bad situations and saying like, okay, if I time it like this, I not only get out, I get a fat punish. So I want to see that same sort of tendency in terms of like being a lab rat to fight against him. And even if you win a matchup, you should understand why you win a matchup, because that other person is going to be labbing extra hard to stay solid against your character. And we've seen Waichi Mochi shift up his style. He always going to have something in his back. He's not really a mix-up type of cat compared to like Torimeshi and his V-Trigger 2 and his other sequences that he puts on. He loves his buttons. He loves to utilize, you know, the normals and things like that and just slug it out. I like to see what he does up in this match in terms of the economy of buttons, what he spins to get, you know, Gachikun down to the ground. Maybe more medium kick, medium punches, things like that. Maybe he goes for the heavy kick crush and finds follow-ups. I'd like to see what he does against his character, because again, not a fun matchup. And the way that Gachikun might play might be difficult. The EX dive kicks might clip some of these limbs and allow Rashid to get in and start his party.
See how it plays out, right? There's a lot to be said with both in regards to how their offense can be played, but I think here it's gonna be all about the defense, specifically for game 2. It is gonna be Gachikun going up against YHC Mochi. It is Rashid versus Dulcim, and in just a bit we will see what the V set is going to be as we load up. I'm expecting it to be a 1-1 set from the side of Rashid because of how much pressure you can utilize with that tornado. But for the side of Dulcim, I'm not sure as to which V-trigger might be on the table. Let's check it out. It's going to be one. It's going to be the Azifa. V-trigger 2 coming from the side of Rashid instead.
Okay, what's that damage play? That V-trigger 2 definitely able to access more of that damage with the extension for this character. I like that. Right now, I also like Waichi Mochi peppering these buttons. Medium kick, getting these hits. Rashid not the healthiest person in the business. Ooh, we tried to answer, but there's that dive kick you talked about. Clipping the limb.
On the reset on the other side, close to stun. Oh. I was like, season 1, what does that mean? I was like...
I haven't seen it in a while.
I was like, Trigger 2 wasn't introduced until like 2018 or 2019, fam. I was like, what?
You're right. Shooters on the roof right there. Able to seal it and steal it right there. Waichi Mochi doing a fantastic job of staying solid up in that corner. Yeah, I'm bad forgot. It didn't come for a while. But see how utilized up in this match. Not able to take Waichi Mochi down this round. But now we see the counter hit, equal spike, puts him in the corner for the Oki. Giving that pressure. We try to get the overhead. Waichi Mochi's out of there. What cost?
Ooh, man, look at the amount of damage incoming too. I don't think he's going to be spending too much bar. Yeah, just 1 bar is going to be more than enough with the Eagle Spike. Finishing off with the spinning mixer again in quick fashion. Gachikun getting a really, really solid break against YHC Mochi in comparison to what had just happened in the previous round. But fully stocked YHC Mochi scares me a little bit.
Could see wake up super, could see a lot of things in his character. If he gets that EX bar going and flowing. The reversal for some distance. The EX slides in. The EX bar you wanted to see, the side switch too, allowing that escape option. The reversal punish. Got to be ready.
The V-shift break, and I love that idea. Problem is, will he have enough? Will he survive long enough to utilize a second one? Oh no, he couldn't even interrupt it. There it is. Nope, the V reversal. Full on punish from that close too, especially in the corner. Might have been a little bit of a memory lapse on that one. I think there's been a lot of detail on that in regards to what you're supposed to do against the V-trigger. That, indeed, right there, that is the Season 1.
There we go. Gotcha, getting it done. And I like him utilizing the reversals to get the side switch, find punish continuously. YHC Mochi has to be careful about the options. And again, we talked about, you gotta be solid against the matches, even that you win. She gets the likes of Sim. Do some damage. V reversal again, we see from Gotcha Kun. And finding a punish, and better off, a side switch not being pushed in the corner.
I love that, yeah, changing up the angle, or at least changing up the approach, airborne, forcing YHC Mochi to pick the wrong anti-airs at the wrong time. I love that, yeah, big interruption from YHC. Mochi still has trigger as well. Oh god, that could have led to so much. When are we gonna see it? When are we gonna see the trigger activation from Gotcha Kun? We'll even get to it. Nice, that's what I like to see. The air-to-air approach instead of letting him run amok with the airborne eagle spike. Not here.
Preventative measures right there. Take him down to the ground before he even comes through in the clutch for the likes of Gotcha Kun. Punish, sweep off the feet. I like that slide apply. Little bit of heat before the fireball float, take, finds the punish, catches the throw bait and the side switch. I like that YHC Mochi is continuously making sure that he is midstream and not keeping mean. Get close enough and backs up, I should say, with the anti-air flag. Plus, bar at the bottom too as well.
That was a sick Yoga Anvil combo from all of that. That was really, really well done from YHC. Mochi, more than enough damage either way to cook. This guy was unstoppable this round, I feel like. His anti-airs were way more on point, especially in the corner, too. That Yoga Anvil was sick. Yoga Anvil canceled into the Yoga Flame. I was a fan of that. That was pretty cool.
Yes, sir. Predictive with it, too. Slower on the side compared to the other anti-airs of this character, but definitely well-spaced, backed up for that explicit purpose. And now we are seeing when he gets the lead, he's able to keep it and stay solid. More of those air-to-air approaches too as well to stop Gotcha Kun from coming in. Who's going to get the win? The final game between the two. See what Gotcha Kun has left in his bag.
Yeah, now he's close enough to get punished. I was going to say, most of the time it's tricky business when it comes to trying to punish that standing roundhouse because of the spacing, but from that close part, I think also, again, we're going to get some of these normal things. Here we go. The reversal from V-shift break, I should say. The reversal from the side of Mochi. And look at that, yeah, the preemptive setting, medium kick. Big counter poke against Mochi.
He gets the throw, walks him down to the ground. Medium starter and ends it with the eagle spike. Gotcha Kun now on set point. Get busy up in this corner continuously, and this is what you like to see if you're a Rashid player. This is where you work. This is where you are definitely at your strongest. You put up in the corner. YHC Mochi, not done yet. Not the turn just yet. Flip out, light. Anvil again, gets the stun off the air fire. Brother.
That was actually kind of sick. That was actually kind of cool. I've never seen a stun sequence like that ever from YHC Mochi. But I would also love to see a round from him if that were the case. But Gotcha Kun doing the most to bait out 2 of the bars, 2 of the V-gauge against YHC Mochi. This is looking like his round. If he gets a solid hit in the critical art, it's over. Oh, that could have been it.
The spike is out of there. Slide. Activation. Oh, could be the chip no dip. They switch the spin to get the in. Double light. The challenge of the dash. You may not pass. And that means final game, final round between the two.
This is really tough.
What a whip!
My God. Oh, the slight delay! Catching him low! Gotcha Kun, he's gonna get punished! Oh no, it's all gas, no brakes for YHC Mochi up until this point. Now it's gonna be Gotcha Kun. He's slowly trying to steal second base, third base, trying to look for home.
The throw, the reversal, interrupts the EX, saw the flash, immediately with the slide, but perhaps with that media kick, it's Gachikun. Heavy kick to catch the slide again, crouch media kick, one more jump in, one more touch will be the win. The area right there, Eagle. The mixer for the finish. On the way down, you were definitely calling it right. Gachikun, in one of the most aggressive sets I've seen with Rashid versus Sim. Still being able to get the win and still staying solid in scramble situations. My God, that could have gone either way. That could have gone either way.
I'm gonna call it if you aren't, because that was definitely a misplay from the side of YHC Mochi, right? That instant air medium kick, that was 100% an attempt to try to teleport out of there, right? That is 100% an attempt from YHC Mochi to catch Gachikun. And I feel like that would have caught him too, because Gachikun had pretty much gone airborne at the same time. That's a really, really unfortunate thing to see. That happens to the best of the Dawson players too. We see a lot of these instant jump normals. It wasn't really, there's no chance he would have gone for the snipe from that positioning, or even like with that much health left from Gachikun, obviously. So that was just really unfortunate. And you could see the remorse there coming in from YHC Mochi. He's had it too. I think that would have been his game. I think that would have been his game. He would have been able to punish Gachikun on the way over.
So unfortunate. Just one simple mistake. That's the thing about Sim. He's a strong character, but he takes a lot of work. And being on point, being very technical with this character, it takes a lot of work. And just one slip up means you're done. On the other side of things, though, Gachikun being awake and aware, being able to find a punch and being ready in these moments is what led him to victory. You know, like when these scramble situations happen, it's one thing for the person to drop. There's another thing for the other person to pick that up and find the finish. And you see the anti-airs on the side of YHC Mochi, 6 out of 12, not too bad. 50% dealing with the likes of Rashid, very difficult considering all the jumping situations. Obviously not all the bust outs on either side. You know, you're not gonna be able to bust out unless you're going for the super. If you're Sim, if for XDPs, very slow on the side of Rashid. Didn't really need to do that. You know, Tex 2 out of 3, and then 4 out of 10 on the side of YHC Mochi. But overall, I gotta say good play in terms of the anti-airs for the YHC Mochi side of things. But just being able to stay solid in scramble situations and being able to acclimate continuously and take the reversals off the table, reversals off the table, I should say, when they were getting punished. That is like the rotation of options that you want to see, likes of Gachikun. 20 points.
Yeah, you can really
so
talk
far.
about the story too in regards to like what happens in regards to like the anti-air positioning, right? Or actually the anti-air stats. 6 out of 12, 50%. I think there's a lot to be said about Gachikun's approach in the air. Dawson has a pretty decent time trying to anti-air from certain distances, but if you're able to change your trajectory up and delay it slightly at the peak of your jump with Eagle Spike, that's really difficult to contest. And even towards the end, YC was so reluctant to even try to anti-air because of that strategy, and which led to Gachikun closing the gap even further. There's a big story to tell with that. We don't want to miss it on this one. But even so, the throw strike game also is super important. We talked about how much of a problem it is to get Rashid off of your back when he puts you in this corner, because he can lay in so many different types of frame traps afterwards and still be in full control to outpoke you. It's actually kind of ridiculous. So really, really well played in terms of offense from Gachikun, but from YHC Mochi, he did the most he could, really.
Right. That was the best matchup. Now we're going to see the final matchup between this team, possibly. Kawano going up against Shuto. Shuto has been doing a ton of work with this Yuri Cat, proving the character is still strong, and even in matchups where not so positive, being able to find answers. You point out continuously, it's his movement, being able to micro step back defensively, crouch blocking, helps him keep charge, but also not get caught low. In the V reversal, V shift, V break system that he's able to utilize in rotation with V trigger, keeps him super solid on defense and offense. Again, keeping him and his character very relevant. However, this is Evo champion. This is Kawano, who has also kept his character, Colleen, very relevant, being able to win Evo with a character that has been nerfed, that has been damage, has been taken down. The corner carry is still nasty. The corner pressure is still great. And someone like Kawano is still able to pull out the most. Any character they pick, and Colleen is still it.
Kawano hasn't really seen the same kind of success that we've kind of expected out of him in regards to like what he was playing like, or how he was playing like in not only this past year, but also in seasons prior of Street Fighter League Japan. Right, he's currently sitting at 3 out of 8 in his overall performance. He's only accumulated 40 points, meaning he's only won one of the anchor matches he was a part of, but the rest of it's been very, very tough. On the other hand, we've seen Shuto have quite the upsurge as of late. 6 games in a row. That's super, super impressive to do. But overall record, 8 out of 12 with 120 points. That is a lot. That is a lot, ladies and gentlemen. He has been the person to kind of really lead the path alongside Higuchi, hand in hand, really, because 120 points plus 150 points. These guys are little phenoms, man. Not the player, but phenomenal players, I should say.
You definitely have led the charge out here. I think even outside of the league, right? You know, both those players qualified in the top 8 spot for the finals of the World Warrior event too as well. So they've not only been strong in Street Fighter League, but outside Street Fighter League. And for Shudo to be this strong, even when the target is on his back, one of the best in Japan. Let's see how he does with one of the other best in Japan. Let's see if they can get better results out here. Kawano versus Shuto. Shuto says that he's the same age as Kawano, started playing around the same time. But Kawano says, I'll put my 100% into this game. This is my rival. Shuto answers back, I'd like to win this.
Plays out. You do get the big whip punish there from the side of Shuto. Well calculated, well placed, and now it's gonna be a big, oh, okay, I lied. I was gonna say big pressure coming through, but no, Kawano actually found his way out with a simple jump just outside of the range of the crouching heavy punch that Shuto had landed for him on the way out. Another big whiff punish off with a medium punch. Shuto is unstoppable looking right now. It's been very difficult for Kawano to stop this man in the counter poke game.
Yeah, real difficult, but Kawano can get him to the corner. This is where he can park. Got the activation off the crouching kick. And he tries for the follow-up, not doing too much. Bar, strike, throw, game hot and heavy. Got the back heavy kick, the medium extended range on those punches. EX, the clip, call for the corner. Again, you can't do that, my friend. In the back jump for the win, caught the EX activation that Shuto was looking for.
Round 2.
Good anticipation from Kawano. It looked like Shuto was pretty much in full control. A lot of the times he's whiff punished a bunch of things that Kawano had pretty much shown him. And we see him kind of flexing that standing medium punch again, but Kawano changing it up a little bit. Chip damage as well. He's slowly starting to aggravate Shuto in some of the spots where he's looking for the counter poke. But look again, very active from the side of Kawano. He's fishing for a normal and then throws out the back roundhouse in anticipation, but no, Shuto. Big opener, more so the corner carry. This is huge.
So nasty enough to get far at the bottom too as well. EX headbutt for the follow-up. You see that utilized there. But that stun, trying to get that headbutt on the throw tag. Kawano was ducking. Finds a hit. Corner carry side switch. We're going to see. Yes, sir. And we get that side switch. Bumper though from the medium. Again, Shuto with the long limb of the wall. Ooh, and the whip. You get hit against the parry. He was wary. That's something from Shuto. We called that defensive option.
Very surprised he actually called out the forward dash while Colleen was in the V-trigger. That is very hard to spot out sometimes. Oh, EX tackle, doesn't get the whip punish, but still nothing. Okay, manages to salvage the situation. Didn't get a standing medium punch into the tackle instead. Kawano has been all buttons thus far. He's been throwing so many times.
Back heavy kick. That confidence was what you like to see from this character. Even though they've been whip punished, can't take them off the table. The deep bar at the bottom for this extended normals right there. Again, can't do that throw punch. Shuto's just trying to find a way up to the is bar, but still the stun and done is getting done by Kawano. Won't kill, but next sequence will. Knockdown what we got after this.
Oh, that was a very difficult situation. That was very well layered there from Kawano. Shuto had anticipated after the crouch jab, there might have been like a tick throw set up for him, so he went for the EX. He actually bet it all EX uppercut, or EX headbutt, I should say. Kawano layering it with a very well-timed frame trap to stop the headbutt altogether. That was really well done from Kawano. It was literally guess for game situation, which is something that Kawano puts people in more often than not, man. Colleen still very much so a threat in that game. It's so difficult to even try to contest against that tick throw game because she has one of the best in the business still.
So with the fierce to back him up in that V-trigger with the extended range on those buttons, the punch buttons, I should say, just allows that to have that pressure to happen continuously. Even before that, though, you point out the confidence in Kawano's buttons, the fact that he is real buttonsy, even though he had been whip punished continuously with the mediums and things like that, the fact that he's utilizing these buttons is putting Shuto off his game. The fact that he is not afraid to put out the back heavy kick, the fierce, any of those buttons that can get clipped, shows me that Kawano is in the driver's seat and driving Shuto to these corner positions too continuously. Let's see what Shuto has on defense. We need to see that defensive Shuto that we're used to seeing.
This plays out game number 2. Shuto has been near immaculate in the first game with the counter pokes. but still not able to get that W. Pretty detrimental to the mental, but now it's Kawano who's been firing on all cylinders with some of the lights and baiting some of the presses from Shuto. Again, now he is the one in control with the counter pokes, the big whiff punish from Kawano. Safe jump setup, also layering in a couple of the frame traps, and also the spacing has been so minute. Shuto able to break through that with defense of his own. EX headbutt.
That crouch heavy kick looking for the activation for that corner sense situation. If you can just find it. The crouch block though from Shuto. Never mind, not fine. Back heavy kick. Knockdown back rise still there. No surprise. Back throw from Kawano. Catches it again. And gets the arm breaker. Kawano layering on those frame traps continuously, especially when he's got that beat trigger. Makes him such a threat.
Yeah, and even if he decided to commit into like a target combo, that just leaves you in such a hard place to like even try to contest. Now it's going to be a lot harder to play defense once you're in this corner. This guy, Kawano, is ice cold, not even letting Shuto breathe. Ice filling up his lungs. There it is! EX chariot tackle to bust out of the corner.
Those light kicks every so often. Kind of threatening Shuto from dashing in and might flip a fierce. But Shuto with the bump gets the EX knockdown, trying to tackle. Light getting the Parabellum. Crouch leading kick here from Kawano. Gets the crush, builds the default in that sequence. And now we go right to the corner where Shuto does not want to be. Tech, but walks into the medium. That activation.
I love that from Kawano. He's ready for it. He's absolutely ready for it. Yeah, he's losing his charge as well. Shuto is looking to activate by conventional means off of a normal. He hasn't been holding back yet. He hasn't masked his charge. Where's the EX? Are you afraid to fire? There it is. Oh, he got the counter hit. That was actually sick. He got to continue the combo after that. Where's the second mirror?
Right there. The anti-air. Oh, it flips it with a crouching medium punch into the metallic sphere. Shuto still alive.
The movement was such movement. This guy was actually so criminal in his layering of the offense. He walked back intentionally to bait out Kawano and finish the job. That was so well played from Shuto. Holy, what a sequence.
That's a good beat trigger. That's a real good beat trigger.
But he played it well.
Here's
He played it
Kawano.
extremely well.
His headbutt. Worked out in the clutch. Caught that backdash. Normal throw Batista bomb. Trying to walk Kawano to the corner. Grabs with these mediums, but that allows Kawano to get the whip punish off the light. In the corner carry again. Parabellum.
Go for it. No, he tried to press a button in between. I think Shuto had maybe anticipated a throw, so he probably went for a tech because his character was standing. He went immediately from a standing position, or from a crouching position to a standing position. So I'd imagine he tried to like tech at the last second or something, but the iceberg, the hail came in first.
Man, Kawano, that corner pressure. It seems like he always has bar when he puts you in the corner. Always has bar to lock you down with the ice cubes, or just spin that bar to put you in that position where he puts you in a prison with the buttons to build the EX bar again, to find these finishes. Always having resources at the ready. Stay instead, he is on game point against someone who has been so dominant like Shuto.
Truly the test of rivalry. Kawano hasn't really had that much success, but when it comes to a game that means the most to him, he outshines his opponents thoroughly. We've seen that on an EVO stage, and we're seeing it again right now before our very eyes. Shuto actually had the first game very convincingly, I think. There was a lot of momentum on his side, but then ever since those last couple of rounds, Kawano's just been taking it away from him game after game, round after round. It's been so impressive in the neutral game.
Again, I want to see more of that defensive situation in terms of the deep bar utilized by Shuto. Having a whole lot of corner pressure might be deadly. EX corner carry right here, gets the throw too as well. Keeps it meaty with the medium punch. Check to see if Kawano's blocking. Kawano looking for the activation for the side switch. Anti-air right there with the elbow. Oh, where you going?
A little bit problematic of a situation, right? Kawano, despite letting it rip with the trigger, he's got so much to work against. Yeah, that mountain was not going to be moving. Shuto hammering it down, the standing heavy punch, getting himself around on the board. It's been a while.
Yeah. Actually having a good lead right there, and be able to keep it too as well. Wall tackle. EX again, Not a trade situation. And Shuto utilized this EX bar a little bit earlier in this round. EX tackle just to catch Kawano with the button out, but EX bar against finisher. Started Kawano for the corner carry. Goes in for the throw. Express purpose to put this man to the corner. Try to get the activation. V reversal finally comes from Shuto to deny the activation.
So close in regards to the life. That's going to be the rate equalizer. The meaty. Oh my god, the spacing. That was actually the sickest confirm from Shuto. He was mad far. He got it towards the last end of the active frame to continue the combo. This guy, Shuto, is amazing. What was that? That was actually the sickest. Highlight that. Y'all better highlight that. Shuto is a madman with the spacing. That was disgusting.
And minute spacing right there. He's aware. And those medium punches have been doing, this is back to where he feels comfortable. We haven't seen those medium punch buffers come through like they used to. It's been a while. He's been harassed with the lights. He's been harassed with the back heavy kick, prickly stuff. I get it. But now that he's found the right spacing against the likes of Kawano, he's back in business. And having way better leads and keeping them. Shuto staving off game point.
Man, that was quite the explosive round. Shuto slowly starting to adapt. I'm glad he's not making it free. I would have been a little bit disappointed in regards to how much work he's put into it up until this point, man. Shuto is looking to fight it out. He's looking for a real match. And he's giving it to him. Yeah, we start to see more of those bust outs a lot further, or a lot sooner than later with the EX chariot tackle.
He's out of there. The rest of that deep get some distance with it. Again, these medium buffers doing dividends. Crouch meaty kick keeps it meaty. Shuto backing off, knowing the activation's gonna come through with the crouch or medium kick. Will get that last hit. Shuto with the follow-up. Stylish.
Yeah, that was a really, really big stop against the forward dash. Getting a big counter hit conversion. I think that was more than enough. I think actually just the perfect opportunity for Shuto to close it out. Pretty much Kawano gave him the best scenario that he could have asked for. Gambling on the forward dash, and now gambling with an EX chariot tackle. Not too big of a gamble, right? It is -2, so even if it did get blocked, not too big of a problem for Shuto. I love that trade-off too from Shuto.
I like how the EX chariot tackle comes through every so often to stop Kawano. The dash in for the button. Well applied. Back heavy kick though with the crush. B-bar online. Trying to activate off the target combo. Yes, sir. Shuto caught teching, but nothing really connected. Not a lot from the side of Kawano.
A little bit of a freeze there, no pun intended, but it's still going to be back to normal broadcasting. Kawano did get a couple of the hits against Shuto. He does have full critical art as well. He does whiff punish the roundhouse with the EX Parabellum. What's that? Okay, I was going to say, I thought there was going to be a safe jump, but instead goes for a tick throw opportunity. And again, the strike throw game, it's so deadly with the Ice Queen. Look at that. Battle point for Kawano. We'll see if he'd actually secure that big 40 bomber.
Love to do so. The EX Parabellum utilizing it as a whip punish, as a pretty decent whip punish against some of these normals too as well, especially the heavy ones. Like that from Kawano. Shuto trying to find that buffer. A little bit of a freeze right there. It's going to find the hit. Wasn't able to get the charge, unfortunately. But still has
a little bit of a
help.
problem between two. Wasn't really able to get that solid conversion from Kawano. Against Kawano, as Shuto had actually initially landed that crouching medium punch. But this is just what it is, man. It's really unfortunate to see that kind of drop. It would have been a very big momentum shift, I feel like, or momentum starter for Shuto, if anything. But this is something that just kind of happens, man. We're looking to see maybe a couple of more games. Still underwater, managing to get the big medium punch into EX chariot tackle. I love that from Shuto.
Over to the top and won't stop. I like how he's dealing with that crouching kick activation. And now blocking things out. Buffer again. Didn't have the hit that he wanted. Unfortunate drop. Had it, but just mid-time. Swimming right now. Things are getting darker in the depths. Just want to put them in the corner. Air throw drops him down to the ground.
Oh. The EX chariot tackle busts out. Kawano is still looking after. No, he dropped the EX Parabellum, but not to his own fault. You see Shuto, he's only one back throw away, one big crush counter away also, or even a counter hit confirmed. Can he steal it out the way he did previously with the crouching medium punch counter hit? It's going to be the anti-air. He's going to get it. No, he dropped it. But again, not to his fault, not to his detriment, really.
Seemed like it.
Or no detriment to his play, I
time
should say,
winding down.
specifically.
Crossing the kick, it backs away, tries to come through a play, wipes off the shoes on his face with the heavy kick, and Shuto taking it under the most unfortunate circumstances for both players. Evening things out, maybe not the way that he wanted, but still, the way things go.
A little bit of a hiccup there. We are going to be calling that out. Shuto managed to still get a big counter against Kawano moving forward. That was the roundhouse that pretty much spelled defeat. Roundhouse into the V trigger. So big apologies to everybody that has been tuning in. Again, we do see those significant slowdowns. We are going to acknowledge it. We are going to take a quick break in regards to the gameplay, at least as we get ourselves pretty much reassessed and situated with our players. Kawano versus Shuto is pretty much going down to the wire. It's 2 games apiece. We will be looking for a potential restart between these two to kick off our final game of this battle. But the way things look right now, Good 8 Squad could potentially get their big 40-point victory. But I feel like that would just be adding salt to the wound at this point, because Good 8 Squad already has the first place victory for the league, and they will be already into the grand finals, all things considered. They've already got their 20 points from Pugura and Gachikun.
Yeah, they're looking more than pretty right now. Another grand final seat for them. But we'll see what gets the win, because last time they were not the ones taking away the crown. It was FAV Gaming. But however, I like the fact that, going back to Shuto's play, I like that he's utilizing 2 things: EX bar and the V bar. EX bar for the EX chariot tackle to catch Kawano off his toes, because Kawano has been too confident with these buttons. It's leading to a lot of knockdowns and quarter situations that Kawano does not want to be in. And behind that, we see the buffers off the medium too as well. We also see a lot of the V shifts and V breaks and V reversals coming through from Shuto. His typical defensive tactic is rotating those options, and he's been maybe not building up the V bar that he wants, like with crush counters and stuff like that. So it's even more detrimental for him to rotate those options and be even more smart about how he utilizes that. But I like that he's putting that option on the table. He's been harassed too often with those ice falls in the EX edition to lock him in a block stun. But now he's able to survive and still have V-bar on the side. We saw him end things with the V-bar, the heavy kick into V-trigger. Still has enough V-bar to take things down. Shuto is acclimating well to what Kawano wants to do.
I'm looking to see how this is going to turn out for Kawano and Shuto, right? I would love for them to play under the best circumstances that they can, because this is going to be pretty pivotal, I feel like, for more so for Saishun Console Kumamoto. If they can nail this, right, if they manage to secure at least these points, they would have 350 points under their name at a minimum, not considering the sudden death, right? You want to make sure that you are ahead of the game away from like the V6 squad or even like the Shinobiism squad. If you walk away with only 330 points, might be a little bit problematic in terms of your seeding placement. I think overall they'll be safe in the playoffs regardless. As long as, yeah, I think they'll be safe in the playoffs regardless. It's just a matter of where they're going to be at for seeding, because the threshold is 300 points, right? The only people that have been in that position are the only ones that are truly at risk are the V6 plus FAV squad, our gaming team, and the Shinobiism gaming team, right? With Gilgun trailing just barely behind him at 265. So this is going to be a very, very important game, I feel like, more so for the other two teams. But for Saishun Console Kumamoto, this is more like a favorable positioning. They're making it into the playoffs regardless.
Right. They're solidified. They just want that good seeding, and that definitely makes sense. You know, you definitely don't want to leave it a lot too as well, and you definitely want to make your mark out here against these top spot players. Like Good 8 Squad, we've seen them bleed, we've seen them lose, we've seen them get ties, we've seen them, you know, we get that 20-25 recently between the two teams last time they met. So you'd like to have that same sort of heat, like, hey, we can do it. Because last season, Good 8 Squad was way too dominant. They're way too much in terms of getting the W's. And it took them until the grand finals to really face a very hard defeat. I think they only lost maybe once last year. I have to check the notes again, but they didn't lose very much. This season, though, things are a lot closer. I like that these teams are so close in contention, and not only in points, but in terms of talent and the probability of them getting the victory. Saishun Console Kumamoto can definitely do it. They can definitely take this victory. Shuto is showing that he can take it down against Kawano. It's how he utilizes that V-bar. On the other side of things, Kawano doing something different with his whip punishes. We see the EX Parabellum come through against the Fierce. because Shuto would love to have a crush counter. He'd love to have these crush counters build up with that V-bar, get a little bit earlier and things like that, or maybe use that V-bar for something different. And Kawano is stuffing that with a safer option like the EX Parabellum, and now getting the corner carry even more expeditiously. So we'll have to see what Kawano does to continuously put Shuto in the corner and make him guess. And really defeat all those defensive options, or what Shuto does on defense and puts himself on offense if he can get that V-bar for V-Trigger to seal it. Because when he has V-Trigger, we saw what happens. Like, it's looking great for him. That's one of the best V-Triggers in the business. That's Urien keeping him relevant up in this game. But we'll have to see if that even happens, or if he even gets a chance to activate. We've also seen Kawano jump away from the EX chariot tackle, avoid these activation situations. We'll see what happens. We're getting loaded up again, y'all. Thank you all for watching as we reboot, reconfigure, and readjust ourselves for the final match between these two teams. Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
And with Kawano too, you kind of mentioned this earlier, just kind of like add a little bit of a cherry on top. I think he's been doing a fantastic job of really highlighting the big weaknesses that Urien has, because he doesn't have the main tools to kind of escape from the harassment, right? He doesn't have a 3-frame normal. He doesn't have a reliable reversal anymore. And I think with that in mind, Kawano knows fully well what to continue doing, right? He could legit just harass Shuto with tick throw potential off of the standing jab. Once that standing jab is hit or blocked, you could picture like the giant electric like routes that he could take, like the entire nervous system looking routes and paths that he could potentially take on offense against this character. The pretty much sky's the limit in regards to Kawano's offense. But you had mentioned it earlier, right? Once that V-Trigger is primed and ready, I think Kawano has done a really good job of trying to be as risk averse as possible, right? Knowing full well when to back away after his offensive pressure is blocked, or knowing when to cut it short. Obviously, the jump back scenario has been more than effective. Now it's up to Shuto to really kind of have those solid reads, or maybe even reactions against the jump back from Kawano. I think even trying to snipe out a jump is very difficult, because you've seen him try to do that once, and he was met with, like, I think a jump roundhouse in game 1 from Kawano. I think that was game 1, round 1. So I'm really curious to see what it's going to be like for Shuto in regards to when he's going to utilize his V-gauge in a different manner. You mentioned that like a bunch of times over. I want to know when those scenarios are going to happen. If it's going to happen in between the offensive pressure, is it going to happen like during maybe like a hailstorm that is put up in his face instead of trading it with the coral punches. I really want to know exactly how he utilizes his V-gauge going forward.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that V-ship. I wonder how that interacts, especially when you call up in the corner, because he's been going for 4 medium punch 2 continuously. It's time to switch it up. Maybe go for the V-ship and the break to get some distance with it. And maybe if he does get hit with the hailstorm, will Kawano have the distance to get the dash in punish? I'm not 100% sure. Maybe if he's against the wall, he might be able to do so. But mid-screen, where that has been happening too as well, we'll have to see if that is a viable option. I'd like to see him rotate those defensive options, get the lead, because he's able to keep it. We'll see who's going to take the victory between the two as we're finally into the final match.
Round 1.
It's kind of difficult when the trade happens more often than not. Here we go. We finally got ourselves the final game between these two teams. Potentially, right? We could go into a sudden death if Shuto manages to take it against Kawano right here and right now.
Pokes upon pokes with the crouching medium kicks. Shuto would love to establish that a little bit more. The light, or he just gets a buffer off the medium. Fantastic. The corner carry again. Better round start situation, but the double crouching medium kick, though, from Kawano, grasping right back.
We're seeing it. We're seeing the harassment coming in from Kawano as well. Trying to tuck in his normal so that he doesn't get counter poked. But now it's Shuto, all from that medium kick. Being able to gauge out the distance against Kawano, but now the back throw is here. Ooh, the big whip punish against the throw bait. Not too bad at all. Trying to look for a fish. So he's fishing for a crush counter now.
About to build one up. Find that activation. Dash in tech though. Good defense from Shuto. Not trying to take too much. This micro walk in. Navigating these normals and still having a nice lead and not getting clipped as often. As soon as I say that, commentators curse this is the worst. Up in the corner. Can't let this man activate. It's gonna be so hard to do so.
It's gonna be a fine trade. That's
Bring it
gonna be
again.
great for Kawano. or so we thought. It's Shuto managing to crack the defense. The icy cool defense of Kawano. I will say he took so much extra damage from the EX Hailstorm. He was very stubborn about it, but Shuto, he traded right back at him and still managed to survive. Looking at battle point for Shuto.
He won that V-trigger as much as possible, relying upon the V-trigger to get the win. Put the defense aside for the offense. Finds the finish. Shuto now harassing with these normals. Trying to keep that lead. The EX bar flashing, threatening the idea with that charge of the EX chariot tackle to get that knockdown.
More of a steady pace. Still trying to check the dash, not really big, but there it is. Yeah, the standing medium punch again, finding the mark against the tackle, or with the tackle against the movement against Guano. Another one. Is this gonna be more than enough? There's not. Yeah, he's gotta be dead. That is gonna be sudden death now for Shuto and the gang. Clenching it out there with that medium punch again into the tackle. He has been so on point with those confirms, as well as the buffers, as well as the whiff punishes. This guy's got it all, the complete package, and now getting himself even further into a favorable position in the playoff seeding. This guy Shuto is ridiculous.
He is amazing. The fact that he's able to stay solid and rotate his win conditions. Now we see him, instead of just going for V-trigger, I'm going to go for the super. I'm going to save the bar to go far. I'm going to hit you with the super to seal it. And he's able to keep the lead with that medium punch. And again, feeling consistent with the button that this character is blessed with in terms of corner carry, in terms of damage access, in terms of whip punish, where it had been taken off the table for a little bit because Kawano would hit him with the back heavy kick. He's been in and outside that range to make Kawano feel strange. He's like, is he going to go for an EX chariot tackle? Is he going to go for what option? I'm not sure. It's allowing Shuto to thread the needle with that medium punch and get that bar built up for that super. My God, this is definitely the best Urien in the business. Free.
Really much looking like it, right? That was 3 games straight from the side of Shuto, and we see how well they are in regards to like adjusting for the ground game, but also the anti-air game, right? Pretty much 100% from both ends. And with Shuto, I will say, like, I'm very surprised that we didn't really get to see the icicle jump from the side of Colleen as often. With that in mind, Shuto's still managing to get some of the anti-airs. I don't know if that's necessarily true, because I think there was a jump out that Kawano had in the left corner in game 1 that was slightly missed, but I might be tripping. The strike throw game, this is a pretty important story to tell. 9 out of 20, bro. 9 out of 20 attempts against Shuto. You know, again, exactly how Colleen operates. That tick throw game can be quite dangerous, but being 9 and 20 and still managing to get the W, still pretty impressive for Shuto.
Pretty good. We didn't really see that tick throw set up in the corner continuously because he wasn't even in the corner in that last game. So I like how he said, I'm going to avoid that situation that has been putting me in a lot of painful positions. So right now, it's going to be a painful position depending on who takes it. A first to one means so much. How you play, how your aggression is, the less time to get that data, who you send up, it's going to all come down to this. And what player we're going to see, Shuto looks like he might be coming up again. I like that option. He's already hot. He's already on fire. I think he does well in the first to one either way. Urien also does well in the first to one with that V-trigger too as well. Who are they going to send up for Good 8 squad?
It's got to be the run back of the rivals. It has to be. It has to be, right? It is going to be, obviously, Shuto is going to be in the ring with the wings again. I should have just said the ring, but either way. Kawano looking for that run back. This is going to be pretty important. It's going to be a battle for pride at this point.
I love this. Immediate run back. So much on the line. 25 points on the line. 20 points for the loser. That's still quite a bit, but however, again, Saishun Kansou Kumoto wants that better seeding. Every point counts. And again, as you put it, the pride is very important too as well. Kawano, just shy, just 1 game shy of taking that victory. Would like to see what he does in this first to one. Shuto says, I will win this. I will gain that 5 points. Very confident right there from Shuto.
And Kawano not satisfied with his performance just yet. He still has a couple of things up his sleeve, as he had mentioned in the pregame interview right before into the sudden death matchup. I haven't showcased what I can do. So we still have a lot more potentially from the young man, as if we haven't seen a lot already. I feel like he has been so important in the younger generation and their current movement of being one of the greats in Street Fighter in general, right? Really looking forward to seeing what he has for the sudden death, man. It's been pretty heartbreaking to see what he went through in the previous season of Street Fighter V, Street Fighter League Japan, right? Having that switch over to Vega and then just immediate remorse and regret afterwards. I want to see him pretty much lay it all out on the line here. I want to make sure that we see Kawano pretty much leave it at the ring at this point.
Yes, sir. I'm definitely see we're definitely kind of seeing a different Kawano. I feel like this year, winning Evo and things like that, that confidence has been bolstered. The Japan Open, winning that too as well. And even though when he had won with you know, a lesser calling, I feel like that has to have emboldened him to say, yo, I could do it even with a weaker version of Colleen. I remember back in his stream months ago, he said he would try to make this character work. He'd try to make her work. We even saw him tossing around the idea of playing Oro for fun and stuff like that, maybe going to other characters, testing him out. I'm glad he is sticking with the Colleen. Lucia, obviously, ever so often, you know, if he wants to fight someone like Poison or Fudo. But I like that he's sticking with this character. We've seen the work. I want to see what he brings to the table in the first one. It's definitely something different. You don't have a lot of time to deliberate on what the other person wants to do. What you're doing in terms of aggression might have to come to the forefront with the quickness. No time to hide the cards. You only get 2 rounds, I guess 3 rounds going down, and not much time to do much else. I'd like to see what he's going to showcase that he didn't show us in the previous matches.
Not gonna really harp on that anymore. We've already done it 2 times over. This is gonna be it. The sudden death battle between Kawano and Shuto. Those 5 extra points. You know, kind of arbitrary at this point. Looking at the current rankings with Saishunkan Soul Kumamoto, right? But who knows, right? We still have the Goya Oja body star to go through. We'll see if that comes to fruition later in the week. So, Kawano, Shuto, here we go. The final moment in the sudden death, first to 1.
That medium punch once again. Cool clip that crouch medium kick. If Kawano ain't careful, aim now, put out that fierce. Able to anti-air. Kawano walking to the corner. He gets the EX bar, never mind. He's fine, but just get his target combo. The lockdown again. Anti-air, cross up with it. Not gonna leave without leaving some health.
Pay the toll. Standing right kick lever. The counter poke against Shuto. Look at this, the standstill, so reluctant to even press buttons on both sides. What is it that Shuto's looking for? What is it that Kawano's looking for? Well, he might have found the mark with that crush counter.
I see the crouch or the back heavy kick coming through a little bit less often, but at the right time here. You like the Kawano. Cross medium kick, lift the toes. Now for that corner carry. Oh, wait for the light. Into the super.
Is that enough? It's not. It's not.
I think so. Oh. We'll do it though. Ooh.
Really
movement
well
Fine. Closing out with the V-trigger, fantastic. Smart play right here from Kawano. Knowing that the super wasn't going to kill, V-trigger, next couple of hits would.
Looking at the aggression right now from Kawano. He's really looking to prove what he's all about, what he's truly capable of. Shuto, on the other hand, that's a punish. Still within range to get the standing light kick. I see you. Oh, Kawano is all over it. I'm loving this right now. He is feeling himself.
That corner aggression. Glasses in session. Able to the target combo. He's out of there. Has the bomb to make the return overseas. The dash up back to Batista bomb. Bar at the bottom. Gets the overhead. Left to the dome. He's got the bar at the bottom for that extension. He's going to get that corner situation. Getting closer and closer to that super. Fade away and play for the stun. Shuto trying to get it done. He's got the super. The headbutt heavy kick. It's going to be more than enough to drop though. No. Shuto. Don't let it go.
One solid activation for Kawano to be in, and Shuto had him shaking in his boots. Kawano was not ready for the throw. You can see him, the heavy sigh into the air. This is it. Battle point for both.
At the limit. Shuto walking with these crouch mini kicks every so often. So is Kawano. That's been kind of the party star for these pokes. EX, but look at these blocks up from Kawano. A little more patient with the buttons. Make sure he's not clipped with the EX cherry tackle and knock down.
Big counter hit explosion now from Shuto. This is all the momentum he needs. The backdash is there. Kawano doesn't get the extension. Oh no, he dropped it. He actually dropped it significantly. Not like this. He's back in the game. Watch out for the mirror build-up.
Yeah, Shuto fine with blocking right now. We'll build up that V-bar. Just giving him that access point. The throw though, and he does have EX bar also up the bottom for that CA finish. Kawano knows it.
But he's not charging. He's looking to do this the normal way via maybe a medium kick. He's looking for it. He's looking for it. Don't give the quarrel. Ooh, the forward dash, no check. There it is! That's more than enough! Shuto is gonna take the sudden death battle that is Sai Shunkan Seoul Kumamoto with 25 points against Good 8 squad, getting their redemption, their run back at the W from week 7. Ever impressive play. Shuto being the one-man band for his team against the threat of Kawano. Very impressive.
Ridiculous play from Shuto all the way through, and once again utilizing those resources in the proper way. That B-trigger to back him up, but that super 2 as well to seal it and steal it. Shuto taking it down over Kawano. Another victory. We did get to see a little bit of what Kawano wanted to do. I think the back heavy kick kind of came through a little bit in the clutch, but just too many drops on the side of Kawano. Too many instances where Shuto was in his bag with that medium once again in the same situation that we had saw previously in the previous match, where we got him in the corner, got him pressure with the bar at the bottom, and found the finish. Man, Shuto just showing that Yuri still has a lot of strength, but not only that, Shuto is definitely leading the next gen charge along with Kawano.
This is a dangerous duo, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to do over at Capcom Cup. I want to know exactly what it's going to be like when we see them actually duke out in the World Warrior events, man. That's going to be so crazy. Like, I think, so Momochi's the only one that's qualified thus far, right? Only one person, only one player from that entire pool of 8 gets to make it as the champion of World Warrior Japan. That's going to be brutal. Who's even in there, right? You have Pugera, you have Shuto, you have Higuchi, you also have Tokido, and then there's 2 more that I forget to mention, but I'll look at, or there are 4 more that I forget to mention, but I'll look into it.
But man, look at the listing right there of Saishun Console Kumoto. Shuto and Higuchi are sitting in World Warrior, those who have been the strongest of the team, and you see them showing out definitely for their team overall in the league. Shuto especially. We did the winning interview out here between all these players. Higuchi talking. Fantastic play from him. Even though he wasn't able to get that right win, I've seen his play throughout the league. It's been great. I'm sure he's talking about his match with Pugera, how Pugera was able to get through those fireballs continuously and just stuff a lot of what the fireball game wanted to happen, and also just get aggressive in that close range game with the V-trigger too. So Higuchi says actually it was a bit within me, maybe just a little bit too nervous, a bit too rigid today, and we really get to see that Higuchi sort of play, but I feel like Pugera stuffed a lot of that and stopped a lot of that confidence that Higuchi would have continuously because he was outside those ranges to stop the fireballs and stopping that comfortability zone that Higuchi would like to be with Guile.
Yeah, and it's no real easy feat to kind of maintain the record that he's maintained throughout the entirety of the league. When he talks about how well he actually did, to kind of put it in perspective, he is #1 in the rank of Street Fighter League this year with the most number of wins, 10 out of 13, and also the most points acquired with 150 points. That is like near unprecedented in compared to how he performed last season, right? There were so many different heavy hitters, and he wasn't even necessarily a part of the big equation. I feel like Higuchi was definitely known at that time, but there's something about him this year that has really taken him above and beyond the entirety of the competition.
It's the words from Mochi right here. Let's see what he has to say. Just one mistake away from taking it down against the likes of the Capcom Cup champion, that is Gachikun. Man, oh man. I did lose, but I want to be positive that I was able to play a good game with Gachikun. And honestly, it was a really good game. It was really well played. He did really well against what Gachikun was doing against the VR versus, and I liked him adjusting to those defensive into offensive measures that were put on the deck, and I liked that he was looking out for those moments and doing a good job having these good round starts. It's just one little hit away. We would have been seeing a different timeline. Definitely on the side of Waishimochi, but I like that he is not, you know, depressed about it. He's still pretty positive with the fact that he did play well.
Yeah, for this one, it's kind of lengthy from the side of Shuto. First and foremost, he did want to apologize for the slight mishap they had in regards to game 2, I believe, into game 3. Shuto, actually, no, it was actually game 4 into game 5, the final game. But overall, right, Shuto was apologizing for it. He was glad to have that extra game and would like to climb up the rankings to play against Kawano again. As they currently stand right now with 330 points before these games have happened, they are now at 355. Right, if they want to maintain that position, they got to hope Nagoya Oja, Body Star, Mildom don't score any more points. But what did the captain have to say about this?
Like Nemo said, last year we couldn't even make the playoffs. This is something way different. Last year they did not make the playoffs. They were not situated in the playoffs at all. To see them here is something different. I feel like it's a collection of these team members working together, real great strategic points and things like that. Everybody coming together. Even if Waishimochi and Nemo didn't have the best results and scores, they still had clutch moments to keep solid and keep them up in this now second place spot. So happy to be able to participate in the playoffs with his teammates. We'll be seeing them at the playoffs. Let's see what their seeding is a little bit later.
Taking a look at the stats, right? We didn't really have as big of stats in comparison to the entirety of the set, considering this is just one game. You can see it right here. The anti-air department, not really as important. I feel like in regards to this matchup in particular, Kawano was able to get the jump on Shuto one time, but it didn't necessarily lead to anything huge, right? In the 5 out of 7, Shuto very much so well aware on defense as to when Kawano wanted to establish the strike throw game, more so on the throw side, and was able to avoid unnecessary extra damage. That was really well done. On the other hand, though, Kawano, one of the big throws he had missed, he's 0-2. One of the big ones actually led into the final moments of his demise, right? It actually got Shuto around off of a throw, so very, very important to note that. 20-25 W against Saishunkan Seoul Kumamoto, being able to rewrite the results in comparison to how they performed in week 7. That is quite the good ending they were looking for against the good 8 squad. Let's take a look at the replay. Bison versus Guile. What did we what was this? Hold on. I don't know what happened. I actually genuinely do not know what happened, Senkola. There was no hit. There was no counter hit. I have no idea how to call that one.
I don't know. I don't know if he was looking for Bugera to press something after that, or if he just sent that because he thought he got the hit. But still, Higuchi, you know, being able to take something a little off the table, that Higuchi style, I'll say. But Bugera's play, though, his movement, his buffers, his interruptions were fantastic. Where he was able to stand and being able to sniff out a reversal so well hidden by the side of Higuchi was real good. And getting that overhead reset for the maximum amount of stun to get it done was great, too, as well. We did see a lot of those pensiveness from the likes of Higuchi. He even talked about it in his interview, and we see it a little bit later on, probably in this review right here, where he gets an easy jump in, where Higuchi goes for an EX boom instead of going for a flash kick. V-ship, I like that defensive tactic too as well for Bulgaria. We like his defense overall. But again, where he places himself out is so good to get these V skills perfectly cut through. And what happened in this match though?
This was a little bit heartbreaking to watch. Waishimochi was actually playing so well in the beginning of this, but there's just something about Gachikun's defense, right? He was able to hold on for so long. He did get sniped in the first game, or the first round. Waishimochi's his offense was truly prevailing up until this moment. There were a bunch of moments where it went pretty much it looked one-sided. Gachikun, again, being able to establish corner dominance so early was such a big detriment to Waishimochi, just smothering him. But that's not the entirety of the story, right? Waishimochi kind of forgetting certain instances where he can get punished off the V-trigger. But I will say, he's starting to get it down pat. He's starting to get some of these anti-airs going, but not in this instance, right? There's been a lot of highlights where Gachikun, or a lot of moments to highlight where Gachikun changed up his air approach, which is so difficult for Waishimochi to track down. But every single replay really highlights the offensive capabilities, and that right there, I'd imagine he wanted to go for something else, right? That was the very moment, I think, where Waishimochi had a misinput.
Unfortunate. And we had some unfortunate drops because of Shuto's PC, but overall, this was a fantastic set. Oh, it was such a big back and forth of who's utilizing what buttons. We see Shuto utilizing that medium punch button, and when he got taken off the table, is when he started losing. But when he started winning, is when he put it back on the table, adjusting against the crouch medium kick and the other buttons of Kawano. Kawano did have some good things to say. We saw the EX Parabellum against the Fierce play, you know, when that was whiffed too as well. And that great corner pressure, the throw text got caught continuously. Shuto utilizing his V-bar with the switch up. We see the V-trigger to get these these rounds going down, being able to really take things back from the brink. And then we also see him utilizing, oh, that was so sick. The anti right there, perfect. But we also see that V-bar utilized in different sorts of ways in defense. Kind of got caught lacking a little bit. But again, the V trigger also with the V shift and V break in the later parts of these sets to keep him solid and let him keep that bar for the EX, allowed him to seal the deal and took us to this first to death.
Yeah, this is actually kind of close. The way that Kawano was playing the way he was, I think there was a lot to be said. I think he was taking a lot more risks on offense, I feel like. But with that in mind, yeah, he was pretty much breaking the ankles of Shuto in round 1. But as soon as he was down in this very moment, he really felt the pressure and then just pretty much let it slip away from him with the V trigger. There's a lot to be said too with the way Shuto was holding that bar. He made sure that he pushed Kawano to the corner before he even thought about utilizing that V trigger. Kawano had actually given him that space, right? He was anticipating maybe like an EX tackle. He had jumped out even prior to that moment, even backdashed, right? He was looking for a different way of activation from Shuto, but it was a good call from him. Shuto managed to walk him down and find even more success, enough to equate a big W for Saishun Console Kumamoto, bringing him up to 2nd place overall as it stands. We still have more games to play though. Again, we talk about Nagoya Oja Body Star just a couple points away. They might be able to take that spot back, but with V6 Plus, FAV Gaming, as well as Shinobiism Gaming, well, their moment is to, their stipulation is to prevent points coming from Gyogun if they can, or at least try to increase that lead as much as they possibly can. They just need like 10 points each, hopefully, unless Gyogun directly faces off against Shinobiism Gaming, which I don't believe is going to be happening, if I'm not mistaken.
Either way, Street Fighter 6 has been announced. We finally have a release date. We have been begging Capcom to give us something. In June of next year, we'll have Street Fighter 6 in our hands. I'm so excited. I cannot wait. And again, we have the beta next week to give us a little bit of that, because it's going to be a long wait time, a little bit of an appetizer before we feast in the summer.
I love the artwork here from some of these Visa cards as well. I wonder if they actually have this available for those in the States, because I would love to get maybe like more of the vintage side of it, maybe getting the Blanca stage with Dhalsim versus Blanca, or even maybe like full character customization. I got to check that out for myself. And for those in Japan, you got to check out Nosh, right? 3,000 yen total off for, I feel like, for your deliveries, which is pretty significant, I'd imagine. And we do see Yamato and Hameko partake in their monthly Nosh, I feel like. It happens every so often. But again, we were talking about the announcement from Street Fighter 6, right? That's a pretty big deal. Oh, wait a minute, what is this? Is this... I would love to hold all my documents and all the notes I take from every single Street Fighter League Japan in these clear files. That'd be kind of neat.
Yes.
I just want more merch from like Street Fighter League in general, to be honest with you. I've definitely seen the drip from last season. I've definitely seen the shirts from this season as well. Oh, I see it. The clear files are on the top right. I see. Well, that'd be pretty cool. Maybe you could stuff like a Nosh brochure in one of those bad boys. But Street Fighter 6, right? We were talking about this earlier with the trailer. We did see the extra characters revealed. We had DJ, Marisa, Mano, and JP, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty exciting, as well as the food on screen. I like to see that. Alrighty.
Stomach. Why I gotta do this? Early in the morning, we are super hungry. I'm sure it tastes great and smells fantastic. In fact, the production crew was like, it smells so good in here. I am so jealous. Look at that. Look at the glistening on that. Good camera work right there, too, as well. Making us super hungry. But again, I'm super hungry to get my hands on Street Fighter 6. I don't even know how I can keep solid. Look at this great food. Look at my man chow down. But I want to chow down on JP, dog. I think that is a character that when that game drops, I'm looking to play. He looks so cool.
Yeah, JP looks kind of nice, right? I think there's a lot to be said with what was actually talked about in the dialogue. I feel like he was mentioning a little bit of the psycho power, and he was talking about a certain someone being too obsessed about replacing his current vessel. There's been a little bit of a speculation too on the internet about Bison being present as maybe like a Spectre in JP's staff, maybe like also being one with the cycle power. I mean, that might have been a thing. I did see that on Twitter not too long ago, so that would have been pretty cool. There was like a little screenshot of what looked like Bison, but that could be my tinfoil hat. But I think Marisa looks great. Also, I think I would love to see what her playstyle is like. We've seen people kind of react to the Spartan kick to the chest. I know I heard Sejam down the hall when he saw it himself. He's like, did Marisa just kick somebody in the chest and like just Spartan kick him down a well? I was like, yeah, man. Mono looks great. I think Mono is easily one of the best designed characters in the new roster. I think she looks amazing with her story outfit and like the battle outfit that she had. And then DJ, man, reimagining DJ. If this guy has a faint fireball, or a fireball feint, I should say, I am going to be so ecstatic. I cannot wait to play this character. DJ has been so good, I feel like. And like towards the later end of Street Fighter 4, man, he was such a good character. But I'm really looking forward to not only the release date, but getting my hands on some of these characters. I hope they're available for the beta. I know it's not true, but it would have been so cool to have our hands on these characters.
Yeah, well, then we have to be looking out for more news coming through. As you all see, the more news that we are leaving Metro City, going to Italy, going to France right there, hopping different continents, and doing some of the mini games. Also, we saw the parry mini game too as well. You see the bottle chopping, but I like that they gave us the third strike parry game. I like that they're giving us a lot of things outside of just, competing and online and going through ranked. I like that there's like just rest points, rest stops, where you get to be able to take these characters and do something fun, as well as the World Warrior or World Tour gameplay, the story mode. You see the characters right here, DJ, Lana coming through us too as well. A lot of new designs. I'm glad they're bringing back the classics. There are characters that I still want, my Rolento. I still want to see if they bring Akuma or Sagat or the likes back into the fray. But these are a good set of characters to start off. Man, Marisa, bro. Don't look at them arms. And how she hits you with the super.
So sick. I can't wait to see how she turns out. I'm truly excited. My man JP, man with the staff. And I really want to know what his story is all about, man. I'm such a nerd for Street Fighter lore. I want to know what it's like without like Bison causing a muck everywhere. And I would love to hear if whether or not like JP was the one like behind everything and like pulling the strings on both maybe like SIN and Shadowloo at the same time. Like I really wonder what his involvement is within the story of Street Fighter 6 and like the main antagonist, right? Like what his role is in the main antagonist plot, or if he ends up being like an anti-hero kind of person and there really is someone bigger pulling the strings now. So I'm really curious to see how this turns out, man. I'm really excited over it. The Street Fighter Run Back campaign, I got to check out more on that. I believe there's also Street Fighter type arcade also being talked about in the streets. So I feel like there might be a chance for Japan to get their hold of the game a little bit, the official hold of the game a little bit early in arcades near them. So I think that might be a thing again this year. Or no, sorry, not this year, next year.
I think you're right, because I have seen the arcade edition being mentioned. So it's good that they're putting the arcade edition out immediately instead of waiting further down the line. I like that they're having that bring that old school feel back of sitting in the arcade and playing for hours upon hours. Hopefully that edition is really good. But man, there's definitely 3 editions that y'all can pick up. I'm going for the collector's edition. I want that biggest one. I want all the goodies like I have done for every edition of Street Fighter. Y'all can pick that up or pre-order those right now. But once again, Street Fighter 6 finally has a release date in June. I can't wait to see the tournament, seeing what's going to be happening with that. If we get a CPT, if we get World Warrior events again, hell, if we get Street Fighter League with Street Fighter 6, could you imagine, Vicious? Could you imagine a couple months in, Street Fighter League? Brother, please let that happen.
That'd be nice. That would truly be nice. I would love to see some of these players pretty much adapt to the characters as soon as possible and give us the best that they could. And one way to get into that right now is to establish themselves with the closed beta test number 2 and polish up their skills with the characters that are currently available. And also just to get ahead of the game, really. I think playing the closed beta test just gives you a firm understanding of what to do with some of the newer mechanics and how to manage what's going on the screen, or even manage some of the resources you have with every single character, as well as by default with the mechanics of the drive gauge, right? So So I think for everybody who hasn't done so already, be sure to sign up for the closed beta test number 2 happening pretty much next weekend. You want to make sure to be there. I will be there. St. Cola will be there as well. Make sure to also mark your calendars for the playoffs and grand finals happening for Street Fighter League Japan. When is that happening there, St. Cola?
29th at the end of this month, and then 21st for the grand finals next month in January. They're going to have an English, and I'm sorry, I should say restream right after a couple weeks after for both events. So make sure to catch that if you're not able to get the tickets, but you can get the tickets and watch it early on those dates. So make sure you lock those in your calendar and support your favorite players like Team Detonation, as you see up on the screen, and the rest. Detonation, Itsuka, they're out of the running, but they're still going to be playing spoiler for the rest of these teams and give us great action still for Street Fighter League Japan. I cannot wait to see who is going to take it, because right now a lot of people would have said Good 8 Squad was going to take everything easily, but they have been defeated. They have been, you know, getting close games, things like that, even games 20 to 25 points and things like that. It's been looking real difficult, even for the likes of a dominant team like Good 8 Squad from the previous season. So who's going to take it? Anybody's guess. Saishu Kaso Kumoto finally qualifying. Congratulations to them. They'll be seated in the qualification zone and sitting pretty until they have to fight at the end of this month.
Yeah, with Good 8 Squad, they are currently still in first place. Nothing has changed since the beginning of the season. They currently are in the grand final spot, awaiting their fate against the other four, the final four, I should say. We're going to establish who makes it even further into the playoffs. It's going to be Hiroshima Team Ikuza versus V6 Plus FAV, and it's pretty much going to be whether or not Ikuza can stop the points. We'll see you after this break. Be sure to hydrate, get some snacks, and it's going to be more Street Fighter League Japan after this.
この後ね、ストリートファイター6で新たに公開された新トレーラーも流れますので、ぜひご覧ください。それでは一旦失礼いたします。
あの男は常にこの力を扱える器を探していた。
お相手します。
ぶっかわいがってやるよ。
実に光栄です。
動くんじゃないよ。
ここからよ。クライマックス。
無駄な動きだ。
終わらせましょう。
Fighter 6.
さあここからはマッチ
Continuing right where we left off, this is Street Fighter League Japan here with Week 14. That's right, this is do or die time for all of these teams, especially the two coming up right now. More so for the V6 FAV Gaming Squad. They have to face off against Hiroshima Team Ikusa, who are now on the home squad. But take a look at who is on this roster. It is none other than the strongest and surest spear, Sako Noko, with the ever-impressive Minot, followed by one of the best in the business, fighting game god, the Genius Pro Gamer, Tokido, and then ever-impressive Luke. If one Luke wasn't enough, well, we have plenty of them in the league with a little bit on top. The executor of justice, full of judgment. It's Bonchan with the Luke, and of course, following it out, it is Torimeshi, the Super Space Sansara, with the heavy movement on that Dalcium. I'm really hoping to see Sakonoko back. There he is. Cool. I'm glad he's recovered. He was away for a little bit. I'm glad he's back in the roster. Can't wait to see who they're going to send up next.
Hiroshima Team Itsuka is their opponents. The Storm reset himself. Storm Kubo coming through with that Abigail, but more importantly, Alex play and getting better and better. Then we see the glittering personage himself, gunfight, all right, with that Alex and the Oro. With the Crux himself, the Bison, infused with the Psycho Power, Inaba, attack Lab Rat, and just like that, we see Coward, see ya, Crusher taking a big bite out of donuts, and also the competition. Hiroshima Team Itsuka is unfortunately out of the running, but again, they're here to play spoiler to the other team, deny as many points as possible to make their team look better too as well.
Yeah, I mean, overall, we've looked at the record from Hiroshima Team Itsuka, and I'm not gonna lie, man, the way that Crusher's been performing thus far has been very inspirational, I will say, but it did not lead to the results that he was looking for. But I was just taking a look at his current, disposition. But overall, right, V6 plus FAV Gaming, let's take a look at this current roster. It's Dalsum and the bodyguards, right? Bonchan, Torimeshi, Tokido, it's a Luke sandwich.
So it's definitely a sandwich as Jabber would see right here. Having a sit in the middle definitely would help shore up things. I think that this is kind of unfortunate for the likes of Hiroshima Team Itsuka, because you have the Alexes that deal with Sim. I think Alex can do decently against Sim. Every time I talk to Mr. Crimson, he feels like it's a pretty even matchup, if not Alex's favorite in some instances. But against Luke, though, it's looking a little bit more on the difficult side. They're going to send up, it looks like, Inaba first to deal with the first Luke. And I don't mind that. I think Bison does okay against Luke. Inaba, maybe not have the best success out here in the league. 4 wins out of 14 games. He's played a lot of games, but unfortunately has been on a bit of a downturn lately. Last time we saw him, he lost to Fudo Mika. Bonchan, however, has been doing fantastic lately, being able to get the victory with his Sagat against the run back against Yamaguchi and his Luke, and beat Nemo's Gill.
Yeah, I don't know if, in regards to, like, I was thinking about the matchups you were presenting. I don't think Dalsum versus Alex ever really goes in Alex's favor. I don't know. I've never really seen that kind of conversation between Mr. Crimson and Problem X. They've even talked about it over on Street Fighter League EU as well. Mr. Crimson has talked about Alex pretty much falling to Dalsum pretty consistently, at least from what I've been seeing and hearing. But overall, that's gonna be an interesting disposition to be in. Also, like, where do you plan your counter against Dalcium, even though it's not in the anchor position? But I would have loved to see one of the Bisons go up against Dalcium in general. The one Dalcium really on the team with Inaba. But overall, I think this is going to be just fine. I think Inaba is really starting to show a little bit more confidence in his gameplay overall. Despite not being able to get the Ws he was looking for these last couple of weeks, some of the matches, I will say, like, have been pretty close. Like, a lot of the matches are looking as if it could have been, like, either way per game, per round.
True, he's getting closer. I mean, even though the points will add up to how well he's been doing, I feel like he gets so close and he's just off the mark just by a little bit. Inaba does say that he has been practicing against the Luke matchup, so he is ready. Unfortunately, his anti-air stats have not been so good. In fact, that they are the lowest, and he was kind of shocked by that. Bonchan says, if we win 40 points, he says nothing else after that. He just gives a nice little grin right after. So he's hunting for that W, for that 40-point bomb out here against Team Itsuka.
Really curious to see how it's going to play out, right? We take a look at the points that he's had thus far. I think it was, what, 50? I thought it was 50 overall. Yeah, it is 50. My eyes deceived me. But Inaba, again, after his impressive start as the anchor, he hasn't really found the kind of success he's looking for. Bonchan, on the other hand, has actually had an upward swing these last couple of games. Bonchan is 6 of 11 with 60 points under his belt. In these last couple of weeks, he's been really trying to put an effort to impress the family, right?
Again, that Sagat play. The hiding the tiger. But this match, definitely Luke is way more favorable to bring out and will do just fine. We'll see what Inaba has in his bag, because Inaba is like a big tech rat. You see him utilizing, different sort of anti-airs and like mute spacing and things like that against situations to get him out. Hasn't always been perfect in the last half of the season, but I see the ideas and I want to see them come to fruition and see what he has against like a Luke. In fact, everybody has something against Luke, but I want to see it come to fruition in terms of getting a victory. We'll see though, because Bonchan is getting better at dealing or figure out how to play Luke with his own style. That's been kind of the tale of the tapes for a lot of Luke players, how to implement their style with Luke. It's one thing to play Luke, but it's one thing to put that style on and get W's at the highest level of Street Fighter V.
I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to play out. I've actually tried to probe for some answers from the side of Bonchan every time he would stream. A little bit tougher on that side, as you know, it's hard to get some of the attentions of some of the pro players, right? Trying to even get them to like answer, but when they do answer, they do provide some pretty good insight. I'd imagine like in regards to the matches that Bonchan has played, he's certainly prepared. I mean, he's already got what it takes to be a champion in different realms of the game, right? Different realms of Street Fighter. I think overall, this matchup in particular is going to be played a little bit slower on behalf of Inaba, right? I think Inaba being able to walk it down with V-Skill 1 and being able to react, as he has been reacting to, when he reacts to the Sandblaster, he does utilize it pretty well to at least close the gap against Luke. I think there's a big moment, or like a big counterpoke kind of moment, kind of game that he could play against Bonchan in certain spaces. I think there's a lot that Bison can do to whiff punish a lot of the normals Luke has, and also if he wants to close the gap, he can utilize the scissor kick more often than not to not only chip damage, apply gray life, but also get himself started if spaced correctly. So we'll see. I think Inaba has slowly started to figure out that formula against Luke specifically to find that kind of success. It just so happens to be one of the best players in the world he's up against now, piloting the best character.
They're going to be difficult. You have to play it perfectly, because if you get in that negative situation, it's an easy punish for Luke. That may lead into an Oki situation when he gets a target combo off any light buttons and things like that as an easy punish. So where you space yourself out is going to be very important. Also, how Bonchan utilizes that V-bar is going to be very important too. We've seen that continuously throughout Street Fighter V. Dealing with Bison means V-reversaling, but now more importantly, going for V-shift and finding punches. We've seen that from the likes of Fujimura. We'll see if Bonchan has something for Inaba. First match between the two teams, Bison, Luke.
Game number 1, here we go. An ever so important matchup for V6 plus FAV, considering what they have on the leaderboard. Inaba again absorbing the Sandblaster, as we talked about before, firing right away, catching the dash up. Bonchan is able to get started first.
Ooh, the reaction. It's that V-skill stocked up. Lets it loose too as well. No anti-air right there. Again, predictive with it when it comes to anti-air. So crouch fierce comes out a little bit slower. So you either go for like a hell attack or jump back jab. There's Inaba with the corner push.
We talk about this as a kick from time to time. There's a big counter poke from the Fierce coming in from Inaba. Forward throw now. Although the stun is rising, I think there's a lot more chip and gray life that'll be coming first before the stun. Excellent choice to V-reversal. He does have enough life to build himself another one to get into V-trigger position. It's up to Inaba to prevent that from happening in the first place. A throw will do it! EX Rising Rocket failed to launch. Gotta go back to the drawing board on that one. Check the engines.
What a pay right there from Inaba, able to seal it right there from the likes of Bonchan from the EXPP. Inaba, this patient game is working off, but still too impatient and dashes into those lights. Allowing for the Oki to have a back heavy kick. On with the jump back. Lighting the EX hard knockdown. Dash in light just to test the waters and see what Bonchan does. Push to the corner and well spaced into a kick. Again, you pointed that out. Strong option.
And I can't believe we got that big opener. Another big opener. Pretty impressive from Inaba, catching a lot of the movement against Bonchan. But no big crush counters just yet. The Psycho Axe. Yo, Bonchan is so reluctant to let go of this V-gauge. He's just taking plus frame after plus frame.
Again, even the EX situation and the throw, Inaba. Inaba. You want to come with that defense? I'll come with that offense. Man. You gotta go for the V-reversals, the V-shifts and things like that. Caught from the corner. The only thing we saw in reversal was really the EXDP. And then again, Inaba's just patient play eroded the mental of Bonchan for that first match.
A lot of consideration on defense for Bonchan he needs to let go of that meter. There's been so many instances where he's just been smothered the entire time and has not been able to kind of release, right? He's had V-trigger for so long towards the end of that. And there was also plenty of moments to even try to bust out with V-shift break, especially after the EX Psycho Blast, or even like a maybe like a Psycho Axe also in the corner. Really tough.
Even Inaba setting up for that express purpose, you still have to put that on the board. You still have to put that option out there. Trying to find some of these jumpers, but Inaba is recovering just fine. He skills the fireball. Careful now, could find extension off these mediums. We'll let it loose. We're all in the neutral.
Again, trying to go for the neutral jump, looking for a forward moving normal, but just extending heavy punch now. Bonchan, a lot more clear of a conscience to play with this. There it is. Yep, play with the defense a little bit. Play with the V gauge.
The X for the corner push, even on block. Good for that corner push. Great left on both sides. A lot more on the side of Inaba. Can't get clipped with the fireball. It's going to hurt a lot more. Side switch, gets a hit off the light, target combo. Knuckle sandwich with the throw, call from the corner. Now it's time for Bonchan to party. Back to medium punch. The flip out. Inaba not done yet. The V-bar, but the whip, you get hit too far out for the scissor kick to land.
Can we talk about the meaty the meaty back medium punch on landing after the reset, allowing Luke to be close enough and meaty enough to get 2 more back medium punches after that? That is disgusting. +2, +2, +2, call an ambulance. Jesus.
Toxic positivity right there from this character. I can see the complaints from why people do not like that. And I like that he goes to the back medium right there to Inaba, trying to take back his turn on that minus situation. Runs a medium against the blast. We're outside that distance too. Caught him coming in with a dash, and Inaba now the one breaking down.
Yeah, he's been a little bit overzealous on offense. He's been trying to sneak in places where Bonchan has already checked twice on. Like, he's not letting these dashes fly in for free. Not one bit. We're looking for an activation route, possibly from Inaba. No, the back throw instead after the roundhouse scissor kick. Reverse allowed. Still, he's not going to give him any solace, and that's going to be enough. I wonder if he was, like, willing to, like, let go of the V-trigger, the V-reversal at least. He had it, right? He would have been closer to, he would have been, like, prolonging the potential death, but at least, you know, you give yourself a chance with the V-reversal. I don't know what you're holding it onto it for.
Kind of wild, because that was a problem that Bonchan had himself, and even more so now for Bison without having an actual EX reversal. You have to go for those V reversals or V shifts or V breaks too as well. If you're getting pressured on the approach, you have to look for those moments too as well to right things back, and you have to spin that V bar if you want to stay in the game. Bison can make the comeback. He dumps out damage if you give him the opportunity. So I'd like to see that V bar utilized by Inaba in some of these situations. Holding on the bar does nothing for you. You are dying with nothing for no reason. And now Bonchan utilizing his own V-bar in reverse. The V-reversals continuously to get that chip no dip situation. Fantastic acclimation right here from the likes of Bonchan. He is doing a great job of harassing Inaba continuously in the corner and getting what he needs.
But that's the thing. He shouldn't have had the no chip. He shouldn't have the chip situation. Right? There was a V-reversal on the deck of Inaba. That was the point. Like, that was the whole point. Like, outside of like the normal circumstances where you could utilize V-shift break or just V-shift in general, V-reversals, etc. You have 2 bars of that. Like, I'm really a little dumbfounded as to why Inaba was refusing to let go of that, despite that moment being a checkmate scenario. I don't know if it was just like maybe just forgot. Maybe he had his like deer in the headlights moment. I can't even imagine what is going on through Inaba's head in that moment.
Get together right here. Game point for both players.
Round 1.
Bonchan making like he's got the hands of the driver on the wheel, driving this.
Oh. Well, you know what? Going into it, I was going to say, a little bit of a lackluster in regards to what was happening verbally, but I'll tell you what, Bonchan has been striking so much thus far. And Inaba not being able to stop some of those very, very sharp jump-ins. There's the anti-air, there's the trade-off there.
Jab 2 as well. Again, does like jab, stop his dash-ins, but off the medium target combo is on the mark here, and Inaba sets up shop with a bomb, waits and waits to be big boy damage. Extension with the explosion. Hell attack. Inferno. Suzu kick. Doesn't spin the Psycho Crusher for that end situation. Want to get the follow-up. One more in the bag.
A lot of chip damage as well on that entire sequence. The big whiff punish could lead to a throw situation. He still gets immediate after the rising rocket, being able to dash up. The reversal just one touch away, could be a sandblaster, and he's teasing the idea. Charging up V-Skill 1. Bonchan let loose at EX1. Willing to risk the meter to get himself into the next round, but it's up to Inaba to find his way back in. He's gonna let it go with the projectile first. What's gonna happen here? Bonchan getting rid of it. The back throw, you can't shift this Psycho Axe.
Gotta do something now.
3 seconds.
Bonchan, but that's still the dash in from Inaba is able to land. You see Bonchan rear back, unfortunate, wasn't able to challenge the dash. Brody had it in the bag, but it was over. Inaba, not done yet. Now the one on set point.
Also having the meter advantage, but ever so slightly. You see Bonchan charging up a V-Skill in front of Inaba as if he weren't even there. No! What is happening? Inaba is starting to like really just let go of this momentum. He had it right there from Bonchan. It's not over just yet, but if you let him go for free, it's just extra damage on the table and having to work so hard again to keep Luke in the corner.
Exactly. Side switch with it. Bonchan's out of the corner. I like him getting froggy. Again, hard for Bison to deal with that. Crouch Pierce is predicted. He has to go to the anti-airs, but on the ground, the medium lands. Now for Pierce, trying to find an opening. There's the beast still right back, but too far out. Bonchan adjusting his face with the drop, though.
Drops
Resources inside of Bonchan.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Bonchan's still here. He could make this happen. He could use a Rock Smasher if need be. Keep it safe. Yes, sir. He has one more on deck. Oh, you're actually going to be killing him. No, there's nothing behind it. He's not dead, is he? He's actually dead. I actually can't believe that.
The power of the future. The power of Street Fighter 5 into Street Fighter 6. Right here. Bonchan hitting him with that super. I cannot believe that killed. But it sets him with the set point along with Inaba. Nice whip once he gets the down for Pierce.
Into it, yeah, Bonchan is not trying to be overzealous with his movement. As soon as I say that, he dashes up in Inaba's face. As soon as he understands that Inaba is being timid about it, he decides to strike. The reversal, the Grey Life is there, and now he gets to keep the Bison contained in his corner. He's looking for the charge against Inaba too.
The kick again, try to get in, well spaced. But again, Bonchan's been backing up and forth and shifting up where he's at, but shifts right into the lights and gets crushed for trouble. Wakes up with the lights to get the target combo. Medium flip out, air to air right there, like the jump back, fade away from Inaba and play. Psycho Crusher. Let's go for the activation. There's the Psycho Crusher, gets the fireball. Talk about and finds the Fierce against the tech, and that'll do it. Inaba taking over Bonchan. Not gonna get those 40 points now.
This is pretty big. This is actually pretty big. Inaba truly saving it for the finals. Although no longer in contention for playoffs, I will say this is making a pretty big splash against V6 Plus FEV Gaming. You can see how much it means to him too. A little tough to call too. That Sandblaster I didn't think was going to get punished from that far away. We've seen Dogura utilize that strategy before, and Inaba might have taken a page from his book and really well played, really well spaced, and overall the reactions he's had against Sandblaster have been phenomenal. We talked about him slowly starting to gather himself and figure out the Luke matchup. We've seen him react to Sandblaster in a multitude of battles. I think this has been really the culmination of his hard work, and you can see how much it means to him too. I think there's a lot to be said with his reactions towards Sandblaster being top notch, really, that really excelled him into this W. So good ups to Inaba, man. Extremely well deserved. V6 Plus FEV Gaming denied 10 points.
Ooh, what you want to see. I will say these two anti-airs definitely helped out Inaba so much. He did call out a lot of the bust outs from the Bonchan, side of Bonchan, but these anti-airs, the jump back, fadeaway, hell attack, finally finding an answer because we saw Bonchan jumping in continuously. You see him back jump, which is a very safe option instead of just going for a neutral jump or a forward jump. Back jumps, gets a hell attack, finds a little bit of a punish right there, and denies that aerial approach from Bonchan. We see him locked down to the ground a little bit more continuously after that happened in that round. And then, as you pointed out, deal with the Rock Smasher, deal with that fireball pressure, with the V-Skill and the Psycho Crusher, being able to get in that distance with the Psycho Crusher, or I'm sorry, with the Scissor Kick, at that right range where it's not going to get punished. Fantastic spacing from the side of Inaba, getting 10 points on the board with a close match. Definitely well studied and studious in the Luke matchup.
Really impressive thus far. Now it's time to figure out what we were talking about earlier. Who do you send up against the Dulcim? Well, I kind of want to know what Hameko decided on this one, but I don't think I'll have that kind of time. I don't think I'll be able to pull up that tweet in time. Or will I? Maybe? I don't know if it's going to be the Alex play.
It feels like it can't be Crusher.
It is going
because
to be
that
Alex.
matchup is real nasty for the side of Birdie. So we'll be Gunfight coming up to fight.
That's kind of rough if you were to send Birdie in. That's just asking for a death sentence, really. But it is going to be Gunfight. And it's kind of weird, too, because you have, like, who else are you going to send, really? Like, you have either an Alex, an Abigail, or an Oro. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a little tough to manage. Or at least it's tough to hedge your
Alex is the best you're gonna do. Yeah. I do think in this matchup, just overall, at least what I've seen, the EX bar utilized as like the armor point, being able to get it through the limbs helps start that aggression. The stomps too as well as an aerial approach that's hard for Sim to stop. Forcing out the Sim to like V-shift and V-break, that's gonna be hard to do, especially in the heat of the moment. Tormeshi says the Alex matchup is something he hasn't practiced much, but last night he definitely was practicing. And we've seen Tormeshi being able to have that movement that's moving. He's very flighty, so I'm curious to see how he's going to utilize that against a character that's coming with the stomps and the EX elbows and things like that. He said after Shinobiism match he felt light, he will do his best.
I'm curious to see what that really means for someone like Torimeshi, right? Torimechi's matchup against Fujimura, he was pretty much playing on fire, and that was within the same week, right? So I'd imagine he's carrying off that momentum going into this final matchup. This is the final match of the team, really, considering it's week 14. So I'd imagine with the way that Torimechi's been playing, and he's been doing a phenomenal job with his Dulcim and really showing what he's capable of in different ways. Like we've really highlighted how some of these players can really navigate their characters and really kind of like implement their own play style through and through. Torimeshi is definitely one of those cats, right? Looking at his overall performance, I think we should probably go into Gunfight first, right?
Let's see here, 2-9 in terms of wins and games. So that's 2 wins out of 9 games, not a lot. We compare it to the likes of Torimeshi, who has 6 games winning in terms of wins and 10 games played. Doing fantastic for himself right there. So Gunfight definitely wants to leave him a little bit more, one more W before he exits the stage.
All right, well, let's talk about his points then. If you're going to go into that, 2 out of 9, how many points did he accumulate? Well, it was 15. The reason why he got 5, well, the fact that he got that big sudden death battle in week number 1 against Machibo, of all people. And then going into what Torimeshi has been doing, his record, a lot more impressive, I feel like, from the midway point. But overall, I think, Torimeshi has been so solid. Look at the amount of points he's been getting. I feel like it's been pretty consistent. Like he'll lose 1, win 2, lose 1, win 2 again. It's been very, very steady thus far.
Yeah, not too bad. Also, last time we saw him, he beat Fujimura. So that's a pretty big bolstering of confidence, I'm assuming, for likes of Torimeshi. And again, I want to go back to the fact that you pointed out how different he is from the other Sim player that's White Mochi out here. He's way more about the movement. He's way more about positioning. He's way more about, never really being on the ground or sitting down in one spot continuously. And that might be hard for the likes of Gunfight to pin him down. I mean, if you're a grappler player, you definitely want the other player to stay solid, stay in one area. Chase them down is going to be very, very annoying. And Torimeshi, I want to see that practice that he has put on. I want to see it being implemented here. I also want to see what Gunfight does up in this matchup. I want to see what Alex does in totality with that EX bar. Utilizing that EX elbow will definitely help out, but I want to see the other EX options utilized and how they're going to get in against Sim and then start that strike throw command grab aggression in the character.
And what are some of the normals that Alex can present against Dalsim? I feel like in regards to being able to keep that pressure going, what do you think is going to be used from the side of Gunfight to keep Torimeshi from actually escaping?
I think Forward Fierce and Fierce. Those two buttons are fantastic. Forward Fierce to catch jump backs and things like that, catch limbs of Sim if they try to go for the instant overheads and stuff like that. And also float state. If you catch them in float state, that's a fat punish right there where they get the knees or the EX knees if they want the Oki. And even the knees, the specials of the character can do really well if they go for that float state option. I think for the pokes, it might be a little bit more on the difficult side. The normal pokes might be harder to get if you're not in that mid to close range where the Forward Fierce will work or the Fierce will work, but that's just a matter of walking them down, walking and blocking, getting that right zone to be able to implement those normals.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said in regards to what Alex can do point blank, especially off of maybe like a lariat. There are even moments where Gunfight has layered his lariats with multiple lariats to kind of make people think, you know, there's going to be like something else coming that's faster. There's going to be like an actual frame trap behind it, right? Lariat, again, is just such a powerful tool up close and has such a wide range. So I'm really curious to see how this is even going to work out if Gunfight can manage to get that close. There are other ways to get in, right? You've talked about it with meter. Even outside of meter, I think you can utilize the stomps if need be. Even though if the stomps happen to get blocked, he's still going to be safe regardless, being -2. I think there's a lot to be said also with the head crush. Maybe catching a fireball with that, but that's going to be kind of difficult. That's very, very much so an upward angle. So we'll see how this plays out. Here we go. Game 1 between the two.
With the buttons though, Torimeshi coming through with a heavy kick. There's that Forward Fierce, crush, up close and personal with that light, doing something different with it. They're so afraid of command grab or normal right after.
Yeah, I like the idea behind throwing out the standing heavy punch as well, trying to crush counter the potential like whiff button from Torimeshi, but there it is. We talked about the escape option. Torimeshi guessing incorrectly one time. And I love that option too.
You might go for the throw, the jump back, medium kick, fade away and play in the V trigger 2. We're getting the boots right over though. So that Forward Fierce to charge up, the parry. In the EX connects, Gunfight had him caught up in the corner. And that parry situation, deleting these normals off the table in that close range game. Super smart play from Gunfight.
No, that wasn't reaction to the drill. That wasn't even the normals, man. We talk about what we're really looking at too. Like Alex, again, being able to anti-air in unconventional ways in V trigger 1 is what really spelled the death of Torimeshi.
First, get some great life on it. Torimeshi's bleeding right now. Gunfight's leading. It's gonna be a punish. Knees down to the ground. In for the command grab.
Ball behind. Frames after that. V-shift. I don't know what the V-shift is about on that one. Oh, you're gonna get punished.
Easy punish here for Torimeshi. Yes, sir. V-shift goes in right after and gets the grip to do it, the command grab. Gunfight is relentless once you get him in that mid to close range gameplay.
That was actually kind of scary too. After the EX stomp, he was trying to make some very, very hard reads against Torimeshi using that V-break, or the V-shift, I should say. Because after EX stomp, you're +2. I can't imagine what he was afraid of against Torimeshi with the V-shift, right? Because Torimeshi had no meter left on the side of him, so he just backed away. I don't know if he was trying to like bait something or not, but it was actually kind of funny.
Wow, right now is that sweep off the feet right there at that max range and the cancel with the boots. Talked about that option. The extensions off the V skill. EX gets that side switch. Start for the command grab. Now Torimeshi gets to play for a little bit longer.
Yeah, although this is a lot more playable for the side of Alex, again, Torimeshi has still not been well practiced enough to stop someone like Gunfight. He's been super comfortable with this character for so long, right? He's played against, I'd imagine he's had his bouts against Mr. Crimson as well, one of the best Dawsons on the planet, if not the best. So he's got a lot of comfort factor here. In regards to Torimeshi on the opposite hand, I don't know what other Alexes he could have practiced against, right?
Yeah, there's not that many of Japan. Trying to get the EX and land. Unfortunately, too far out for Meshi. Drilling in, get that meaty situation. The back dash though, Gunfight. Now the activation. Don't stand up and get hit with that crouching move kick. Gunfight's looking for any button. The 4 Fierces be with him, looking for a button. Anything, any lift from Sim in that mid-range game for that crush.
Oh, yep, he was ready for the cancel, the Yoga Anvil. He already knew it. Yeah, ball his life. I think, man, would he have been able to charge up the parry for the entirety of that V-trigger? I wonder if that would have worked out.
Sure. So Gunfight on set point. Has to now avoid the V-trigger situation that Torimeshi has put on. Back up in the corner. He's fine for Torimeshi. A lot of escape ops. EX will definitely help out with that with the side switch. The jab, though. They recover time to stay fine, but challenges the dash in. Torimeshi drilling in, trying to get the throw, the tag, the 4 Fierce. The heavy kick connects to the crush. That's corner kick. Actually, you stay in the mid-screen.
Oh, you're hella dead. You are hella dead, and the stun is there. More than enough damage. Torimeshi falling short. Is this going to be it for V6 Plus FAV Gaming? Is that 20 points denied in 2 games straight from Gunfight? The Alex pick actually coming through, making it look like a real counter pick? This is pretty surprising. This is pretty surprising.
I did not think it was going to go down like that. He was so ready and steady with these 4 Fierces, the challenges, switching up what he does off the lights and things like that, and putting Torimeshi in these bad situations where he had to guess, and unfortunately you guessed wrong against the 4 Fierce. All the anti-airs came through with the EX knees too as well. Even the 4 Fierce worked as an anti-air, so that button was the name of the game, plus just the dash and aggression. You could not stop the train. That is Gunfight.
I gotta say, speaking of training, man, Torimeshi again not being able to solidify his W against Alex, against Gunfight specifically. I don't think there's a lot of Alex experience available out there in the land of Japan. But I will say, again, I have to highlight this first and foremost. Gunfight has a lot of experience against Mr. Crimson, man. You can see how comfortable he is in this matchup. And taking a look at it, although 100% on the anti-airs, there's a lot to be said in regards to what happens with the EX stomps coming through. So that needs to be taken into consideration for sure. But the normal jump-ins, Torimeshi absolutely covering that. But more importantly, I feel like there's not a lot to be said with the strike throw game between both, like in terms of the stats here, because of the fact that command grab is put into play more often than a regular grab from the side of Alex.
And light punch, command grab, EX1, definitely get the job done out here continuously. And even those jump-ins too, like what you got with those jump-ins is way more on the side of Alex. He wants to get up close and personal, and that's exactly what happened. 20 points on the board. Team Itsuka playing real big spoiler to FAV. I hope that FAV now looks at this right now with, we have Tokido up in the Vanguard, in the wings, waiting in as possibly the last match of the day. He's got to do it for his team, right? Who do you send up now? This was difficult. This was difficult.
So for Tokido, the way he wants to play, I'd imagine you'd want to send up Abigail possibly, but also Birdie's been very patient in this Luke matchup. He's actually been getting some of the most practice in the league, I feel like, against all of the Lukes. I think there's a lot to be said in regards to what Birdie can do in the neutral and what Inaba can do with his camera.
I think this is a decent pick. I think maybe it's not the best for Birdie overall, but I think there are good things that Birdie does present up in the neutral, especially the mid-range game with the medium punches and things like that, the pokes. He can kind of poke with Luke, and that corner pressure is nasty, doesn't matter who you are. However, he can't be put in the corner. If you're Birdie put in the corner, it's a death sentence. So Crusher will have to avoid that. But we did see Crusher recently at one of the World Warrior events getting top 8 once again. That's twice that he has gotten a top 8 spot at World Warrior events. Even though he's not qualified, it shows me his strength against matchups that are bad, good, or even whatever, for him to navigate through sims and loops and things like that at the highest level out here at Street Fighter V in Japan. It makes me think that it's good to trust him to try to get that 40-point win for the team.
Kind of curious to see what the pre-game interview is going to be like for someone like Crusher. There's going to be a lot of pressure going forward into this, and looking at the current performance of Crusher, again, we kind of highlighted it not too long ago, pretty much in the beginning of the matches, right? Tokido obviously already had this on his radar. He knows this matchup in and out. Plays against the best, right? One of the biggest matches he's had was against Mena RD at Capcom Cup, so he knows full well what Birdie is capable of. In regards to what Crusher is capable of, though, as it stands, right, he's got 1 out of 10 W's. 1 out of 10. Only 10 points to his name. But I feel like his closest match that he's had in terms of like the progress he showed was against Shuto in like, what, 2-3 weeks ago? That match was really pretty much the potential that Crusher has when he has the prep time. But the man who's pretty much playing every day on the stream, I feel like, Tokido, there's something to really be said about this man. What are his stats? I didn't get to see it.
8 wins out of 13 games. It's 125 points in totality for him, and I really feel like that he's gotten into his own recently with this. We talk about it, how he's found the way of Tokido, the way of his own, to be able to play lame, and then also play in a way that can shore up things and get the damage if need be, but pestering with those lights, pestering to get those target combos and put them at the corner and really harass with some of the best pressure in the corner. Let's see what Crusher has for them, possibly the last game of the night.
Pretty aggressive early on from Crusher. Here we are in battle number 3. Sandblast is going to be the biggest problem. If you can get a bullhorn at the right timing, at the right spacing, it might be a little bit problematic, but Tokido knows the spacing, right? As soon as he gets within that range, he's going to go fire on all cylinders. Take a look. Big interruption from Crusher. I like that.
The V skill. Get a little bit of V-bar built up. Keep off the feet, though. Here's Tokido. Dash up, knuckle sandwich throws. Got the V-bar at the bottom, looking for an activation. Could wait for a little bit, too. He still has ES bar and the normal fireballs that Crusher has not denied at all.
Moving again, still just about, I was going to say almost dead even up until that point. And there it is. Yeah, utilizing the EX Bullhorn. Nice work. Past the Sandblaster, getting an activation also is going to be huge. That was an attempt at a grab. You saw the start of it, but he's not dead.
Luke is a good closer, though. That B-trigger from downtown. Careful now. That's the last of it loose, but he still has just the normal fireballs that are quick with it, too, as well. One touch will do a Crusher. I think he's using armor, and unfortunately gets clipped with a fireball close range transaction in the favor of Tokido.
I don't think he was able to use the armor either. He didn't have enough life left. Definitely wasn't going to be a factor there. Crusher was looking to try to outplay him with a normal one. That's one of the biggest downsides. If you don't even have the meter, it's like it makes it that much harder to really work with.
Right. In the corner for Fierce. ESCP takes back the turn on the minus situation. EX still on the flip out. Crusher with the activation. Back to the screen. Go down to the ground. Heavy kick. Tokido with the defense, though, not getting crushed. Look out for these pokes, too, as well.
See the Sandblaster and the Rock Smashers also just trying to keep Crusher away. Reduces the Bubble Glum. Trying to walk up a little bit too much there. A little bit of a traveling call. Way too many steps.
With the light pokes. Talked about them pokes being able to contest with Luke. Careful. Outside that distance of the DP. Luckily, Tokido knows this one. Good for Fierce. Never mind. EX comes through and the clutch. Crusher, the time of these EXs has been definitely getting into Tokido. If it's not a flip-out situation for the EX, for the activation, it's every so often catching Tokido walking or back walking. Fantastic play, 3-piece. Round start with it.
This really is quite the grind for Taquito. He's really trying to get within ranges. I don't know what that was. Crusher, again, not taking advantage of the big moments of the crush counters. And also putting himself even closer to the corner. It's a bad look.
The B skill. Can't do that for free. The bubble yum. Locked him down for some fun. Fortunately, in that block stun, gets the command grab.
You get the sweep activation here from Taquito. Crusher just looking to back up just a little bit. No check on the dash. That could have been a little bit closer for the throw, but Taquito barely missing the mark. Didn't get the first rock smasher. Peppering it in with a couple of sandblasts. Oh, that's huge. That's huge. Extra damage on that too. The V trigger, good confirm there from Crusher. Getting first game. This is looking unprecedented. This is those. Where was this from Hiroshima Team Mikuzo?
What is the final match that they'll ever play out in the league right now? They've come through in the clutch and super strong with it. It's surprising. For Crusher, though, it's not as surprising because we've seen him in the top 8 spots of the World Warrior events. He had to have fought Luke's along the way, or, you know, we've already talked about how the fact that he fought 2 Sims on the way in his first top 8 of World Warrior event. But to finally see that kind of energy here against like Lysa Taquito, this is what we wanted to see before, but however, better late than never. At least going to deny some points from FAV, possibly. But we'll see. That was only the first game, and Crusher doing a fantastic job of dealing with Luke, the buttons, the normals, everything.
I will say the patience game is really wearing off for Taquito. I think there's been a couple of moments where he's been a little bit impatient in regards to his movement and trying to grind it out with maybe a couple of sandblasters, build some resources for himself. But there's a lot of fear to be had once Crusher gets his momentum going and also applies pressure in the corner. We've seen what he does on knockdown. We have seen his kind of setups with V-Skill too, but he's also building meter for himself. Like, he's getting V-Trigger on the way over. He's building up some EX gauge. I think just, you know, the chip to EX kind of trade-off, I feel like is something that Taquito is reluctant to play with. Like, he's just been so sturdy in the first instances of the game, and then he
Crusher, as you point out, doing all this space bar, puts Taquito up in the corner. So I like that option. I like that game plan overall. But right now, not where you want to be. Throws both all defensive options of this character. No 3 frames to your name. No real reversal with the throw, but still gets the stun. Taquito, post stun front, will not kill. This next sequence will. It's just a lot of damage. Until, never mind, he's fine. The DP follow-up. Back in business is Taquito, but some whiffs though from Crusher. Put him in these bad sequences.
Cleaning it up. This is the kind of moments that we need to see from Taquito. This is the moment where we have to get this W if you are V6 plus FAV Gaming to stay within the playoffs.
On his shoulders. More fierce. Crusher taking back the turn. In that range to outpoke some of these fireballs preemptively with the crouch beat kick and the lights and things like that. Wall of buttons.
Oh, jump in. Crusher tried to take it air to air. This is the second time he's been punished. Man, there's gonna be a lot of damage, if not dead. Yeah, I think he's gonna be taking a ton of damage off of this. There was some scaling behind it. Is he enough? Yep, he's still got the stamina. He's big chilling.
Taquito, one touch away. Using that fireball play. So hard to deal with. You gotta be perfect with it. Can't take the trades. Won't trade at all. He'll just fall to the fireball. Taquito backing up nice and safe with it. But again, a few mistakes on the side of Crusher. I would have said that Taquito had great play overall, like, you know, being a little more aggressive and getting more aerial with it, knowing that Birdie can't really deal with that approach. He has to get the crouch fierce or back up for the crouch medium punch at the perfect range. But we see a lot of whiffs and missed instances from Crusher that Taquito is capitalizing on.
Yeah, I think there were 2 times over where Taquito had jumped in at certain areas, certain angles that Crusher felt like a little bit insecure about, and he went to go air to air with it, which led to like a very close situation, or like a close encounter with Luke, where he wasn't sure if he was able to press buttons or not. I think he was still within range to get crouching medium punch, to be quite honest with you. But Crusher again, what are these jumps? What are these jumps? That was early jump roundhouse.
Not quite sure what's going on. No No buffer after the medium, nothing after that medium punch. Ooh, that could have been a lot more. That whip on that heavy kick, but Tokido at least showing that he knows what to do against that button.
How about all that? Oh, that could have been a lot bigger. Jump in again. Pretty much uncontested. We get the forward throw, the counter hit. Tokido slipping up a little bit. The trigger activation, that's going to be huge. Knockdown. No, he didn't go for the other hanging chain. Could he have gone for another one for a better positioning?
Maybe EX? We're here for the kill either way.
Awesome.
Tokido. In the corner, the dash in goes to the light. It throws the command grab for a throw. I go low. Crusher still back in business, but very close.
A lot closer than we anticipated, to be quite honest with you. Tokido letting it slip away from him and his team. Crusher does get the bubble him out. Anti-air, yeah, again, he's been at that right range at almost every jumping in Tokido, or from Tokido.
And being able to hit that is a good sign.
Absolutely, right? Being able to kind of just keep it consistent with the anti-airs, prevent Tokido from going in. But no, the bubblegum setup does not come through this time. We do get the forward throw from Tokido. Trigger is slowly winding down. He has to hold this pressure.
Light after so much. The medium kicks too as well. Getting that right range from a medium punch. Could be over. Try to get the air-to-air right there. Just a jab. And the fierce blessing the dome of Tokido and putting him up 2 games. Crusher. A wall of buttons. And as you pointed out, finally the anti-air that he wanted, the crouching medium punch, finally being able to press. He's at that right range, but now able to press the button, get the anti-air, and adding up the damage where he gets these leads, where he's able to utilize that EX bar, that armor, and not to worry about, you know, not having the health to play with for those reversal options against the fireballs.
Did you see Crusher jump specifically at the time where Tokido was about to get like a cross up? Like if he had pressed jump medium kick instead, Birdie would have, the timing that Crusher jumped wasn't an air-to-air attempt. It definitely wasn't. It was an air reset opportunity. If he managed to get clipped by a cross up, he would have maybe convinced Tokido that he had maybe a confirmed waiting for him, right? If Tokido landed with the cross up, he would have thought, oh, I could probably go into a sequence and hit confirm the rest of this. But Crusher was banking on possibly an air reset, but luckily for him, Tokido actually had jumped in with jump heavy punch. I don't know what he maybe could have tried to trick Crusher into thinking he could just sit there and block afterwards, but Crusher, I think that was extremely smart. That was a very intricate detail that people might have missed, just the timing of the jump from Crusher to potentially force an air reset. But overall, just having the spacing afterwards, that was so beneficial for him after.
Now on game point, Crusher doing a fantastic job of checking the sky approach and on ground too as well. These jabs, these lights, adding up in damage and giving these leads that he needs and building up that EX bar to fight these fireballs. 3-piece knockdown.
Oh, the armor just wasn't meaty enough. Tokido having to back away a little bit despite having the life lead. He's just trying to be chilling. He's actually, no, he's trying to get the big opener against Crusher.
EX again, just in that armor situation. There's a gap, put him in the corner. Where Birdie shines, gets the heavy kick meaty that he wanted.
No longer able to throw that out for free. He still had a little bit of life left to get some of the armor. Yep, I was just gonna say, he could armor through any of the projectiles. Tokido needs to be careful. Are we looking at battle point Hiroshima Team Ikuza?
Against the team that won Street Fighter League last year. It's a team that needs all these points. That Boncho himself says if we lead with 40 points, they may be leading with nothing. Nothing at all. B-Ship caught him with the medium, didn't commit with it, but still Tokido closing in on him in the corner. The EX bar to threat as well against the EX Fireball. Could change up the pace against the Fireballs that has been put on. That Crusher has been cutting through.
Oh, how often have we seen that heavy impact even utilized from the side of Tokido? I feel like that's the first one thrown and the first one hit.
Probably finding Crush, even in the corner too as well. B-bar built up here from Tokido, has a lead. Crush has to find a way to route it back in his hands. He's caught in the corner. Has to find a way to get the exit on a safe find. Maybe an EX again, like some outside these fireball situations.
Crusher still does have full trigger now. He was still looking for a big opener against Tokido. He might be able to get it successfully. There's one. He does get a punish into activation. This could be a big deal. No!
The jump
you
back.
can option select that. You can chase that down into critical. Mena's done it before. There's 2 jumps in a row that Tokido was able to get away scot-free. Oh no, what is this? No, he was buffering. It's the way he was moving and rolling over. He got quarter circle forward twice. He could have caught the jump back twice. Oh Lord.
We would see that, but unfortunately, all that bar wasted. Not even able to utilize in the early stages of this match. That means less in terms of dealing with the fireballs of Tokido. He knows it. The fireballs reckless abandon, gets a dash up, back throw, which in position to keep it, even with the heavy kick. Air to air right there with the jump medium.
This is all Tokido. This is 100% Tokido. We are going into a game, another game, that is for sure. Not gonna spend it, not gonna kill.
Double will though. EX gets him down to the ground. The dash up throw. There you go, Tokido. When he has the lead himself, he's in his bag. Luke, oh man, that super could have been it though.
1000%. Yeah, the first jump, I get it. You weren't ready for it. But the second one, I feel like you would have been able to chase him down, but maybe not. Maybe not. You know, Crusher had an opportunity to utilize that critical art, and what's great about it is even afterwards, you have the opponent knocked down for so long to even get a meaty situation, right? Because they're down for like a full 36 frames, and although Birdie is a big boy, you know, his forward dash is still fast enough to cover the distance and still get a meaty, right? You still have like double digits left over to enforce any sort of harm. In various ways, right? It could even be via command grab as a meaty. So it was really tough to see. Man, tough to see Crusher not be able to land that big opportunity.
If you're Crusher, you can't let that get to you though. Like that's one thing you have to put aside and say, I will be better next time, but I'm still in the game. This is still game point, and he still has a good game plan overall. If he builds up the EX bar, he cuts to the fireballs of Tokido and puts him in the corner and harasses with the normals, setting up shop for the mediums and the heavies to stay steady. I like overall what he's doing in his game plan, but if he loses that lead, it's looking more and more unfortunate. Tokido with a better round start in this final game. It's looking real bad for Crusher right now. I want to be in the corner.
Into this corner, we talked about this just now again, being able to pepper in some of the damage of the fireballs from that range. Pretty detrimental to what Crusher is trying to do. He can't get out successfully just yet. Man, that heavy impact. What now? How are you still able to steal your turn back?
The space grab, but does get the EX, sweep off the feet with the crush, activation. On him with the medium on the other side, in the corner. Am I gonna make the most of this Crusher? Knockdown, the guess, didn't find it. To the finish the light right after, too far out.
That's not something you should be doing at the top level, man. You do have the lights to confirm into the kill, and you drop it. You drop it. Match point now for Tokido.
Steps away right there. Forces Tokido. Getting hit with the jump back jab. The fierce two as well. There is the whip rush against the medium kick. The throw. Crusher not done yet. Get that stun and get it done. Crusher taking us to the final game, final round.
There we go. A lot cleaner. A lot cleaner of a round. Making sure to dish out the damage to make up for all of the mistakes thus far. There we go. Checking in on the dash against Tokido. Checking the movement and now getting the confirm. The appropriate confirms at that. Off the lights. Checking the movement. Tokido is now getting closer and closer to this corner, but he's trying to find it out. He's spending that meter and he's spending it well.
You like that Crusher's making him spin that EX bar every so often, right? Like that's less thing to deal with in terms of a super closeout or just a big lead that Tokido will be able to get. Drive underneath, medium kick, Ooh, off the whip, gets the knockdown off the target combo, off the crouch kick too as well, goes low.
Not too bad, not too bad. Crusher being pretty active on defense as well. Willing to let go with it with the V-shift. Tokido, there's a rock smasher. Build up the V-skill 1. The jump fierce, what are you gonna do about it?
And with that throw, eliminate the EX bar at the bottom. That's one thing you can do against the mini situation against this character. That blows up a lot on off defense. And now here's the offense. Ends it with the V-trigger Tokido. In the final game, final round, takes Crusher down and gives us more games.
Exactly what we're looking for on the board for V6 Plus FAV Gaming. Surprisingly enough, Tokido, the only one to get points for his team this week's team battle. And in the final week of Street Fighter League, again, we still have one more game to play. I don't know if it's going to be Tokido coming up or if it's going to be their captain that they send up. I'd imagine, you know, Sakonoko just recovering from where he was not too long ago. I don't know if he's going to be coming up to bat. I would love to see Tokido play it again, to be honest with you. And I would love to see Crusher play in this sudden death battle. I think Birdie in a 1-to-1 is absolutely dangerous.
Oh yeah, that character's super nasty in the 1-to-1. The way that Crusher was playing too as well, the game plan overall was fantastic. I like the hit bar. It's just these drops, these minute drops, just these single hit covers that you're leaving out or finishing off these combos that could lead to stun factor or lead to more damage or keeping someone up in the corner. I feel like that's just the element that he is missing, and maybe it's nerves, maybe it's just, you know, shakiness. I'm not sure what it is, but what I'm sure I'd like to see is that run back. The anti-airs, not too shabby on the side of Crusher. I gotta give him big credit, being able to crouch and medium punch a lot better as those rounds were going down. Found a crouch fierce too as well, but we saw the jump back jabs also implemented 50% on that side. Tokido with 2 out of 3, 67%, and 100% in terms of the bust out situations. Not bad at all from Tokido. 0 and 2 in terms of techs, and 3 out of 17 in terms of the techs. He's holding all those throws from Tokido, the side of Crusher.
And we don't blame him, really, for the 3 out of 18. I feel like that's a very, that percentage is pretty common across characters like Luke, characters like Cody, characters like Cammy, characters like Minot. That happens a lot, right? So that's just the nature of the game. There's a lot of characters that can really take advantage of this throw strike mix-up. In fact, we saw something like that with Colleen not too long ago. So
yeah,
totally understandable. Really tells the story of how potent some of the strike throw mix-ups really are, and like weighing out the risk versus reward. Speaking of risks, right? I feel like it's not too big of a risk to put Tokido back in the ring again in a 1-to-1, but they're looking to reap all the reward. They could potentially get 330 points, but is this gonna be the captain coming in from Hiroshima Team Ikuza?
Wonder to find the fish. I mean, I agree. I think Crusher should go back up. I think his game plan was sound. It's just a few missteps away, but maybe they will send in like Storm Kubo or maybe even Gunfight. They can't decide right now. They can't decide.
Oh, he got it. It's Storm Kubo. He thrives in 1-to-1s. This guy is a maniac in the best way possible. And of course, it's going to be from the big truck, Abigail. I like this. I don't like the matchup, but I like this the potential.
You know, when you have the 1-to-1, things definitely get a little bit different in terms of like the matchup. Like it's a lot more doable now, right? Like less time for them to deliberate on what you want to do, less time for them to adjust to these big boy limbs that come through, and there's more time for that robbery factor and more time for that panic factor also to set in. You only have so much. We already talked about how this went down previously. You only have potentially 3 rounds. So when you're fighting a character like Abigail, like hit with the Metro Crash, get the guard break and things like that and open you up, it might be more deadly. But we'll see. Someone like Tokido will definitely have an answer for this character, even in a 1-to-1. I imagine V-shifting, you know, some of these buttons and things like that, if even need be, to be honest, or projectile that harassment that he has overall with the fireballs might be problematic against the character. But we'll see. I like Storm Kubo's style. I like his wild style. We saw that with Fudo when he fought Fudo. He fought other people. He's definitely finding his own in the league. A little bit late up in the game, but might be able to take it for Team Itsuka this week.
This is the moment where he shines the most, honestly. Again, Storm Kubo in a 1-to-1 versus Tokido in a 1-to-1. It's going to be very difficult to call, despite Tokido having such a solid win record. against this team. But anything goes with someone like Storm Kubo behind the wheel. And speaking of Storm Kubo, taking a look at his overall record, right? Storm Kubo hasn't really been able to show the potential that he's had year after year after year. I think in various Capcom Pro Tours, Storm Kubo has been the person to look out for, especially in Season 3. His Abigail was phenomenal. He was getting so many big events, or at least making his name in so many big events, whether it's top 3, winning them, or even top 8. He's had his spotlight for being one of the best grapplers in the business. Tokido, absolutely well-rounded too, though. I mean, like, even outside of that era, he was still able to progress past all of the grapplers that have been thrown at him, right? But looking at his record, Storm Kubo, a little lackluster. 1 out of 8, 10 points to his name only.
Not a lot. Last time we saw him, he fought Daigo in the anchor match and got defeated there. The only one that he got was against, he beat Itazan's Abigail with his Alex. And that's where I really thought was like, okay, he knows how to get into his own skin and implement his own playstyle with these characters, because it feels like he's been jumping back and forth. We saw the Dan pick way previously. That wasn't it. The Abigail pick and the Alex pick, because the characters are so different this season, especially Abigail, or season after season, I should say. He's been finding it a little bit hard to adjust, even outside of Street Fighter League. But I feel like that match, that bout with Itazan was like, this is how you play. This is what you're really about. I want to see that same sort of energy in this 1-to-1. As you pointed out, that 1-to-1, fantastic for the likes of Storm Kubo in terms of how he wants to play, how aggressive and wildly he wants to be up in the neutral. The bets, the gambles that he wants to make are definitely going to be even more dangerous when there's not a lot of time to figure out how he wants to play.
Kind of want to see it. Is it going to be the grindy kind of play style that we've seen from Crusher, or will it be aggressive in his true nature? I kind of want to see what happens between the two. I think a lot needs to be said in regards to what Abigail can do in the range game. I think he's crouching medium punch, fantastic. His jab has such a very, very difficult hurt box to even try to counter up against. It could lead to a decent amount of damage if in the right spot and catches a counter hit. Obviously, Abigail also having a command grab in his arsenal could be a huge threat to Tokido. Which leads to the strike throw game being very, very potent, right? Standing medium punch for Abigail is one of the scariest medias to even try to contest against, right? Standing medium punch has been the bane of a lot of players' existence in Season 3 for very good reason. That bad boy on block. Do you want to take a guess at how positive that is on block?
Let me see. I don't remember exactly. Is it plus 4? No, I'm sorry. Plus
5.
6.
It is actually plus 5, because if you do standing medium punch to standing medium punch, there isn't really a lot that characters with 4 framers can do. I think there's a lot that we see Abigail kind of utilize that against the 4 framers, and it's actually a pretty big deal. It was such a big deal in previous seasons. It just locks people down. But it's such a funny normal, man. 9 frame startup plus 5 on block. It really is. Not like mathematically, it is such a funny normal. It's like, man, you get plus 5 on block, but on hit, you're plus 8. If you get a counter hit, that is a lot. You're getting 10 frames. You're getting double digits, boy.
He's getting the back fist too as well, which leads into his Oki situation, which he doesn't have much as season after season has gone on. But going to back fist, getting that full conversion right there allows him to Oki, so you could potentially be looped continuously, depending on where you're at over the screen, if you don't want to be caught in the corner. I do want to see how that lame style Tokido works out. He does have a 3-frame, at least to get challenge. So I want to see what Storm Kubo does against the likes of Luke. I want to see those jabs come through perfectly against the fireballs, the crouching medium punch from Abigail too as well. I want to see what happens when the V-trigger is popped, or if that even becomes a factor if he holds on to that for a reversal option, because there's not much in terms of Abigail for reversal. He only has a 4-frame to his name, no real reversal. He's got the parry, but that's always the best option against the likes of other characters that can be baited and punished. So I'm curious what he's going to be doing on defense, because once Tokido puts you in the corner, we see how he harasses you and how good Luke is too as well. Being on space traps, even when he's minus, being able to harass with the back medium punch and the button that you pointed out, even when the flip out happens, he's still right in front of your face continuously.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I think Storm Kubo kind of uses the V skill in pretty creative ways. I'm not going to lie. I think there's a lot of intuition that goes with being a grappler. There's a lot of heavy reads that go into being a successful grappler at that. So I think Storm Kubo's been in the ringer a couple of times to have some of these big reads, and some of these big reads can lead to disastrous results against the opponent. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. This is the sudden death battle for 5 points. Can V6 increase their lead, keep their cushion up to playoffs, or will Ikuza play spoiler this time? Let's see.
I wonder how back heavy kick deals with these light bloods at that, like, you know, close range from the side of Luke. You can get a crush counter off of that. Probably just maybe take the wheel a little bit.
Ooh, see him waving around
button.
the giant limb. And it's so interesting.
Fireball's
Like,
nice to
Kubo can
save.
contest from certain ranges, but the fireball range has just been so much of a threat against Kubo.
Tokido willing to back up to do so. Nice TP, anti-air right there, checking down to the ground, gets the crush with a kick. The corner carry, jump in, fears. EX, neutral jump, knew what to do. And a fat punish too. Meaty. We'll see the technical Kubo at the activation.
Very nice explosion there from Tokido. Knowing full well the risk and reward situation, considering how much life he had left, he's going to be just big chilling, looking to seal it out for his team and increase that lead. They would be at 330, I think, if they managed to seal this game, this round against just on Kubo. Heavy impact crush counter off the wall. Look at the damage and more so the carry, no chaser afterwards.
For Fierce once again, challenging against some of these lights and these mediums. You see that button every so often. Fireball, and just trying to eat away at the health and Storm Kubo. Not trying to overextend too far. Gets the medium, target combo with the knockdown. Harassing.
Tokido's big chillin', yeah. Does get the big opener against Storm Kubo again, catching him walking forward. Maple Leaf crushing. This guy's got the back throw, and now Tokido, he might be in trouble, he might not. No, it's gonna be all Tokido in that round and game. Storm Kubo had committed to his death at that point. I will say, you know, I had a feeling Tokido was gonna take it. A pretty certain feeling. Nothing too outside of the ordinary for someone like the Genius Pro Gamer. That is a big W for the V6 Plus FAV squad.
Very good play for Tokido. I mean, overall, like, that harassment from Luke at right outside that long-range game was really great, but Tokido not giving up too much room, not putting himself back against the wall, very fully, you know, in the other side of the corner, was really great. Like, he kept a good range of the fireballs without giving up too much space, had the DPs hot and ready in the jump-ins, and then when he put the character up in the corner, it was just back medium punches for Fierces and things like that for the crush counter against the lights. Just standard great Luke play that you see in Tokido's way. Winning out in the end. We didn't get to see that wild aggression from Storm Kubo. It wasn't really happening. He didn't get a chance to enact that great medium punch button to harass with that button at all to make this man fall.
Yeah, it's already bad enough that Tokido had played the grindy game 5 games straight against Crusher. He was still going to be in that mentality, which is why we all said, we pretty much called it out. Tokido would be the best bet into going into the sudden death match. But Storm Kubo and Hiroshima Team Ikuza fall by the wayside, not being able to fulfill their duty to the end. But they definitely had fun doing so regardless. You can hear their spirits still pretty up there, but again, for V6 Plus FAV Gaming, their spirits definitely on the up and up because they now have 313 points, now tied with Nagoya Oja Bodystar Milda.
That's not bad at all, solidified. And that was a really good play again. For them to sub Tokido and have him in that anchor position and continuously use that in that first to 1-2 as well, already heated up and hot. Great position right there that they put him in that anchor position to finish it off because it was looking really bad. Itsuka was starting to start off real strong. I thought it was going to be something different with it. Let's see what Bonchan has to say in his interview. I mean, I got to again give credit to Itsuka to do so well up to this point in terms of like the last part of these matches. And other matches too, even though they've lost quite a bit, have gone down to the wire. So Bonchan, however, says 40 points we wanted to gain, but could not.
I will say, like, this is the closest I've ever really been convinced that Hiroshima Team Ikuza could have gotten a 40-point game. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yes.
I think this is the closest they've been to getting the big 40 ball against one of the biggest teams here, right? The returning champs of Street Fighter League Japan. And it's just kind of wild to say it. Like, I love the amount of preparation they had for their team synergy as the home team for one, and also the matchups as well. Like, Gunfight absolutely demolished Torimeshi in a matchup that I feel like isn't really the best for Alex. And that's saying something. Inaba facing off against some of the best in the business against a Luke, or like piloting a Luke too, right? That's actually super impressive. I think it was just too little too late, but the effort was absolutely there towards the end of it. And even Crusher, right? Certain instances he wasn't ready for, but almost pretty much almost a W against Tokido. That's super impressive, man.
Yeah, I mean, he was only a few steps away, it felt like, from getting that W, going down to the wire. So he's going to have to feel good about their play, at least today, especially today, I should say, even though they're out of the running. Torimeshi says, though, he practiced a lot yesterday. His movement, panic a little bit in the middle of the game, will train his mental, too. And I think that panic situation led to those four fierces. And it's hard not to panic against the likes of Gunfight's aggression. You're scared of the four fierces, the command grab. So many options when he is presented so close, so it makes sense. Tokido says Crusher was out of expectation. He played so well. He must have prepped a lot for this match. And I think anybody playing Street Fighter 5 at this point at a high level is prepping for the Luke, but also the top level Luke players. You know, understand like that match was going to be hard regardless, but the fact that these top level Luke players are going to be bringing something different, you have to be prepared. So Crusher was definitely ready. Not enough though to get the finish.
Yeah, so Sakurako, again, not being available in the first part of the week, had to pretty much take a seat in week 13, is now fully recovered, I'd hope, right? He had a little bit of he did have COVID, unfortunately, but he's now making his way towards a full-on recovery. I'd imagine he's doing pretty well for himself. He apologizes for having caused inconvenience to his teammates and his family, but man, what a captain, though. I mean, like, after all that, he's like, yo, my bad. Like, I got sick. I'm just glad that he's back with us, right? I'm back that he's back to his family, and I'm back that he's even, like, you know, hanging out with us on the webcams as well, and having that kind of energy. Really big, great news at that. Because overall, health first, right? Taking a look at the stats,
yes,
right? Pretty healthy stats from the side of pretty much Tokido, right? At least 100% in the EXDPs in one game. That's a pretty big deal. 1 out of 4 in anti-air. You know, I will say Storm Kubo does have some pretty ambiguous jump-ins every time, or every so often. But the throw game, not really being able to note that just because it's a first to one anyway. So that's just how the cookie crumbles. 20-25 in favor of V6 Plus FAV Gaming.
Open the round it back like that. We're going to take a look at how things happen. Inaba versus Bancho was the first match, and man, was Inaba definitely prepared. His game plan overall was really great. Spaced out scissor kicks, put this man in uncomfortable positions, and utilize that V-bar sometimes, not all the times. We see him harassing Bonchan, forcing Bonchan to utilize that V-bar. The first round going down, we saw Bonchan not V-reversing, V-shifting, doing nothing at all, and holding all this pressure. And that lame style making Bonchan break down. However, this was the round that Inaba took all that shit, no dip when he didn't really have to. He had all that V-bar to get out of that situation and just didn't do what he had to do. However, the last match going down, that slow and steady pace won the race, got a little bit closer. But again, those scissor kicks well spaced was a fantastic play from Inaba. And then how he dealt with the fireballs, V-skilling, absorbing, sending him back immediately. This was super sick. But the Cycle Crusher that we see as the finisher on the side of Inaba to get that victory, well spaced from him, able to get that punish and get in against Bonchan and the finesse and bless, put this man to rest and gave them the first points.
In the next matchup, a little bit unprecedented in terms of the results, but Gunfight, again, showing off why he is one of the premier Alexes in the world. Boom, and another boom. That was such good reactions to in encountering the drill from utilizing that V-trigger from Gunfight. I think there's a lot to be said in regards to how much he's trained for this particular matchup, and also not being afraid of the V-trigger 2 setups that Torimeshi had utilized. But overall, look at this. Just the movement was so confident from Gunfight, knowing full well what he needs to do. But that was a really great answer from Torimeshi too. He did have some neat tricks in regards to what he can and cannot do in the matchup, but I think V-trigger 2 wasn't really didn't really get to play off as well as it did in that particular round for the entirety of the game, right? And we do see, again, in the Oki situations, how often Alex can pin you down and keep you guessing. Well, boom, you guess till you're dead in gunfight. Absolutely knew it, taking it down 2-0.
This one went down to the wire, crusher, exceeding expectations. Even though he's been super strong in the World Warrior events, just having a great game plan, and it all felt like it centered around building up the bar for those EX situations and to cut through the fireballs, get up close and personal, and harass Luke. Corner position, obviously not so good for Birdie. Tokido took advantage. But however, the EX got going and flowing, he was able to stock up and get through the fireballs and harass the likes of Luke and getting that right range where even if Tokido wanted to press a button after the fireballs, he'd get clipped too as well. Kept it ambiguous, but it was mistakes like this that led to losses continuously of not only just the rounds but the match in totality. Missing things that he could have had in terms of like the super and the jump backs continuously, dropping combos that could have led to victory, just breaking down. I do got to give him credit for being able to right the ship and keep that same sort of heat after things had happened, after these mistakes had happened. But Tokido that played just a little bit more solid at the end of the day, not whipping things that he shouldn't have and finding the confirms that he needed to for the finish, leading to this 1-1.
And we see the captain from the side of Hiroshima team, Ikuza, try to take the helm with his aggressive style. And again, I would have said in a 1-1, Storm Kubo does have some pretty good odds, but it's somebody who is already grinding it out. Tokido being able to show not only his impressive defense, but also his impressive offense. The EX Abigail punches, well, that was a pretty easy way for Tokido to round it out, as it is minus double digits. That's like what, minus 20 something, like 23 or something like that. So he has like time to press a button and just big chill. He is like not even worried about that. That's a big error, but being able to capitalize on that, giving them 330 points in totality. Currently ranking, I believe, still stuck in 4th, but also tied with the Goya Oja Body Star.
Great squad, 20 points to 25, Asahi Shinkan Sokumoto, and 20 points of Itsuka to 25 of FAV Gaming. Things going down to the wire today. First to deaths all the way through the play. And we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. It definitely makes sense as every match has felt like an anchor match. The stress is on. Good 8 squad, Saishu Kaso Kumoto, Oja Body Star, FAV Gaming, and Shinobiism Gaming are qualified. Currently, Gyogun is only 35 points away for that play. That Nation Team Itsuka are out of the running. I cannot believe how close things are still as we only have one more day left.
If Shinobiism Gaming fail to succeed, they might be overtaken by the School of Fish. Gyogun at 265 if they get their big 40 bang. I just gotta say, an extra 5 will make a big difference. And I still can't believe I'm saying that. Really, really scared for him, actually. But taking a look at what's going to be happening for next week. Again, this is the final day of regulation season play here for Street Fighter League Japan. It's going to be happening Tuesday morning for those in the States, around 17:30 Japan Standard Time. All right, so you guys do not want to miss that. Just to give you a little bit of a spoiler, there it is. Shinobiism Gaming going up against Camouflage Detonation, and then, of course, it's Team Gyogun versus Nagoya Oja Body Star Milodom. I cannot tell you what will happen, but I can guarantee you this. It's going to be a banger. Capcom Fighters Japan have been hosting it day in, day out, week in, week out, I should say. Be sure to follow them on all social media platforms as well as every platform you can tune in on, English or Japan. St. Cola, it's been an absolute pleasure again. What are your expectations for the final day here in week 14?
Well, I have no idea, but my expectations are we're going to see the best of the best battling out in Japan, the best Street Fighter V action, and I can't wait to see who is going to qualify, who's going to be solidified, the seedings, and who is going to be the best out of Japan. As we get to the qualification zone, we're going to see that later on in this month, and then next month we're going to see the finals happen. And then we're going to see who's going to be moving on to fight the US and EU at Capcom Cup Finals. Bro, banger after banger. That's what's going to be happening out here at Street Fighter League Japan. Any final words you want to say to the people before we bounce?
We appreciate each and every one of you. Continue playing Street Fighter V, and we'll see you up until the finals. Get those tickets now. They might run out. Be sure to make on for it. We'll see you guys for the next one. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
すでにウェブ先行視聴チケットを購入された方も副音声と本配信と一緒にご覧になることでね、楽しめること間違いありません。
はい、昨年なんかグランドファイナルでね、このノーションの2人が副音声やったんですけど、それを今回プレーオフでもやっていきますよというところですね。ぜひこちらも合わせて チェックしてみていただければと思います。はい。
まあね、このチケット購入とか迷われてる方、初めてだっていう方もいらっしゃると思うんですが、一回この応援配信等でこのプレーオフの熱狂を体感してからチケットのね、
なるほどね、
検討
そうですね
されていただければなというふうに思いますので、詳細につきましてはこのリーグ公式サイトにて続報をお待ちください。
はい。
さあ以上をもちましてストリートファイターリーグプロ JP2022 第14節 Day1 の2試合終了とさせていただきます。解説ははめこさん、実況私山本周平でお送りいたしました。それでは最後の Day2 でお会いいたしましょう。さようなら。
さよなら。